a sacrifice seduced for the altar of your vanity. A jealous, hungry God, craving praises of profanity. With bedroom dark and dine, and a deep mouth stained with wine, it drinks its fill. It was your mothers, not your brothers, that agreed to feed you poison. This egregious lack of choice indeed seemed fit to join your voice in, with lies disguised as prizes of reason and wisdom, with briberies of finery to weaken any criticism. Can the fly invade the blossom that devours it? A mouth that lies in wait for a gift of life to shower it.
All right,
Yep.
guys. Welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Hope everybody had a good holiday. And session 83. We did a bunch of little time skips last official game. Talked a little bit about what is perceived as the degeneration of Roman politics, of civility. Talked a little bit about how political violence is becoming a real problem. People are ignoring laws. They're starting to use mob mentality. We kind of glossed over it, but like they are literally stoning senators to death in front of the Senate House, in front of the Temple of Castor and Pollux, which is where they meet. So, yeah, it's getting to be a problem. But we are actually going to rewind a little bit back to 100 BC for this game. So it is 100 BC, and as a group, you guys have received an invitation to go talk to your patron Alexander. He wants to talk to you at the site of one of the what they call pop-up theaters. There are no permanent theaters in Rome at this time. There is a fighting coliseum. There are 2 chariot circuses. There's no theaters. So they're reduced to these temporary structures. They pop up, they exist for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, and they get torn down. And he has asked you to attend him at one tonight.
Are there any details to what are we going to attend? A particular play? What to expect?
No, he literally he wants to talk to you guys about something. It's not bad. Just he's got some business, and he thinks you guys would be interested in it.
That's fair. Was just hoping he'd at least drop some name of the play to get a proper research. We gotta get into good graces with our host, with our patron. But if that's not relevant, then
Yeah, it's not
that's
really
fine.
relevant for tonight's business, anyways.
I see no reason not to attend, so I imagine we all go there.
I need to make a note. A little bit of research for me for upcoming games. All right, cool. Like I said, it's one of these pop-up structures. In a couple of weeks, this thing is going to be gone. So you show up. It's got these temporary columns. There are gauzy fabrics, threadbare, hastily built wooden stage. The crowds are somewhat dispersed. There are still a number of people in the area. Homelessness is a terrible problem. Even with all of the crowded apartment places, people still have to sleep in the alleys. The trash is everywhere. The buzzing of flies, skittering of rats, the stench of people, just people, sweat and salt and human excrement, and even with all the sewers and stuff washing all that away, it still lingers.
Do we know if
the smell of Rome?
Do we know if there are any plans by the politicians to remedy the worsening conditions of Rome?
That's a constant political fight. The price of grain, which has they've stabilized it at a price of I think 1.3 sesterces per bushel, which has really helped a lot with the famine issue. So people aren't starving to death anymore. So that's helped quite a lot. There have been some progress on the standards for construction of these insulae. It used to be people would just build onto them, however and whenever they could get their hands on material, and it led to a lot of collapses and really bad fires. They have passed laws where people are no longer allowed to let them go above 6 stories in height. So there's some things they're working on. But just in terms of the amount of people streaming in and out of Rome at all times, there's only so much they can do.
How does that impact the nightlife of everyday K-Night? How's the feeding looking like in present conditions?
The hard part is not finding someone to feed on. The hard part is not getting caught.
Because of the overpopulation, right?
Exactly.
There's one lurking, but and the hygienes and the is it still an issue to finding a healthy one?
It is. The condition of Rome, it's not as bad as it was. There was a fire about 10 years before this game, 10 or 11 years, and it wiped out 25% of Rome. And they did take the opportunity to clean up some of the crowded conditions in the areas that burnt to the ground. So that has helped a little bit. They filled in some of the marshy areas. A lot of the government buildings are no longer built of wood. They are being built of stone. And those who are wealthy are beginning to tear down their homes and rebuild them in stone. And that is creating a lot of fill material, and they're using it to fill in the marshlands. So the malarial diseases and things like that are actually starting to get to taper off. But you're still dealing with a lot of just diseases for people being in close proximity. Dysentery, cholera, that kind of stuff.
That, I imagine, must be a very big problem right now.
Yeah, fortunately, tuberculosis is actually not that big of a deal. Just because Romans and their use of the bathhouse and the public toilets do tend to flush away the worst of the excrement problems. But the bathhouses themselves are actually, as we will come to understand in modern thinking, a cesspool of cold germs, just getting colds all the time, and people getting sick with generic respiratory infections. Alright, so you show up at this theater. Alexander is already there. He appears to have been there pretty much as soon as he woke up, basically. He's having a jolly old time with some of the actors and stuff. It looks like the play is just wrapped up. People are going home, or they're still partying for the night. You come up on him. He's dangling a nice young lady on one knee. He's obviously in the process of getting to know her. Invites you guys, over to where he's, standing and kind of sitting on a fountain. He stands up. He's like, "Yo, please come here, come, my friends, my clients." He greets you all very cordially.
Albina gives him a polite and respectful bow. She takes a seat next to him, making sure to not touch the girl, knowing that not wishing to scare away their companionship, his companionship by with her natural code.
Nicodemus returns the greeting and positions himself in a way that he can clearly see their host. And he briefly pays attention to the woman. Is it one of the actresses, as it seems?
Probably, yeah. She's still got stage hair. Is wearing
Makeup,
some unusual
like that.
clothing.
I hope the evening finds you well. How was the play?
Oh, I missed the most of it. They just finished up. Actually, I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about it. It's not why I asked you here, but since you ask, what do you think of this custom of erecting temporary theaters for plays and music? I find it fascinating. The speed of the construction, the design. What do you guys think? I'm curious to hear your thoughts.
It is an impressive feat when it is done correctly, but I find that it lacks permanence. It is not like it prevents the establishment of more dedicated areas.
I find myself torn on the issue. Like Albina, I believe that institution of theater demands some more dignity in the form of permanence. But then, is it not within the nature of the man to be changeable? A permanence institutes an element of staticness, and it offers and enforces boundaries in which the actors would need to operate in terms of acoustics, placements, interaction with the audience. And in the pop theaters, they can arrange everything as they wish it.
As Labiena looks around, she's nodding as she's hearing Nicodemos's words. Indeed, I find that there is a certain charm to the lack of permanence, the nomadity, if that's even a word, of such places. I believe it makes the performance that much more memorable, in that, it's you've got a limited amount of time with which to see it.
Okay, I like that. That's a good thought. How about you, Decius? You're a native old school Roman. What do you think of this?
I think that considering the audience would be small when you are moving constantly around the city, it might be in the long game better to have an actual place to have these shows where many people can attend. That's pretty much it.
I don't know. Should we approach repurposing the Circus Maximus?
That sounds... Well, wait, out of character, what's Circus Maximus?
That's the horse stadium that'll fit 200,000 people.
Okay. Well, I think it will be one of the good ways to have large-scale shows in Rome?
He's laughing in character. He actually reaches out and he pinches your cheek and he says, "You're such a little suck up. I love it." And he says, "Decius, come on. You know that the populace of Rome would never go for that. The city packs into that place more than 200,000 strong when the races are up. Do you think they would ever approve of putting in the theater? Aw, come on. I do like that you stroke my ego though. That was appreciated."
Patron, of course. I agree with you, but Rome has changed a lot since the last few decades. Something seems more believable to me to happen in the future. Of course, this might be a little too big of a assumption, but still, we've seen lots of things change. Lots of things that's been very strong and long-standing.
Oh, yeah, things are changing, and that's actually one of the things I asked you guys here tonight. I'm actually getting ready to go on a short voyage to Athens, and I wanted to know if you guys wanted to accompany me.
That causes Alvin to raise an eyebrow in surprise. A voyage?
He said Athens, right?
Correct.
Correctly. Okay. Interesting. Can you? May I ask if there's a particular business attached, or?
Oh,
Do you
well,
wish to-
I have some business to do, but some people I need to go see. But I know you spent quite a bit of time in the area with Artemis on her business, and I thought you might appreciate the time to meet some old friends. Maybe if you had unfinished business, you could take care of some of it while we're in the area.
Out of character, do we know anyone that's still there?
Oh, Nicodemus knows plenty. I might need the notes, but a keeper of library in Athens is a
Shalmuth.
Shalmat. Yeah, Shalmat is an interesting person to visit. Not to mention he still holds the keys to the library, which is huge, and you can find a lot of interesting stuff there. There's Olympia, probably. That's of a bit shaky terms with her. And we know Bucephus, who is in Thebes.
Yep. It says, we're going to go the usual route. We'll approach via the northern channel, go through the Canal of Corinth, and then sail down to Athens.
Talking about Corinth, last time we remember Corinth as a ballet hive. Is it going to be safe to take the canal next to it?
I believe it should be safe. From what I heard from different sources of correspondence, there is the dark aura that has befallen upon Corinth should be now lifted. I haven't confused the dates, GM, right?
No, you're correct.
This is after the.
Yeah, this is approximately 40 years after that.
Mhm.
Patron, if you want to go to Athens and take us with you, well, of course I will come.
Wonderful. I'd love to hear it.
Will we cross Missolonghi?
We should be
cannot
stopping
remember the route.
past there, but my understanding is that they typically dock in Nafpaktos to pick up cargo. It's a huge shipbuilding harbor if my memory serves.
May I ask something?
Go right ahead.
How long do you think we will stay in the Athens?
Just a couple of weeks. Shouldn't be much longer than that if it even goes that far.
Well, if anything, it could serve as a nice diversion of our usual activities.
I mean, when's the last time you left Rome? 60-ish years ago? 50 years ago? Something like that? Yeah. Due for a vacation anyways.
I cannot argue with this. It's been far too long. We've been chained to Rome through one event or another. It seems that despite the constantly aggravating situation and the mortal populace, it seems to be a good time to make a trip.
Perhaps the time away will help the prince forget of our misconduct.
I don't recall the prince needing to forget any of your conduct. Believe some of the negativity there shines upon your sire, not on you.
It shines upon all of our bloodline.
Well, in any case, I'll give you guys a couple of nights. Arrange your households to suit. We should depart from the docks sometime around a little after sunset. We'll all aboard. You can get all your crates made. I'll have a ship prepared for us. You don't have to worry about paying for that. It's all on me. I'm inviting you guys. Come with me.
Thank you for your generosity.
You are too kind.
Yes, indeed. Thank you.
Well, I mean, you're going to be subjected to my poetry, so you may not wish to, thank me just yet. There's nothing I like better than a captive audience.
Is it this moment in which we all agree that your poetry is stellar?
You're supposed to.
Okay, then I cannot see any problem with being mistreated.
Why, if anything, we should pay for this opportunity. If that we are getting a free trip out of it, is something to be celebrated.
You're lucky I don't base my life around money. I would take you up on that offer.
Most wise men do not.
You see, Decius, that's how you flatter somebody. To take a couple of notes on that.
He will just nod.
All right.
When do you plan to leave?
Like I said, a couple of nights. You should have enough time to arrange your households, gather money for your trip, things like that.
Excellent. It should be more than enough.
Good. So, I will see you at the ports, and then we'll set sail down the river and board the ship together.
I'll see you then.
Oh, okay, good. And yeah,
Have
you'll
it-
excuse me. I have a delicious piece of meat over here to go woo. So off with you. Off.
Of course, and Laviana wastes no time in turning around and heading out. And wait for the others, of course.
Good night, patron.
Yes. And enjoy your night.
Enjoy your dinner, my good patron. Then Albina gets up, giving him a polite bow before moving away.
Good. Awesome. You guys are experienced travelers. You know the drill. Get yourself a good crate. Prep your trunks, containers for travel with weapons, armor, a few cash reserves, some extra money. Uh, if you happen to require certain feeding restrictions, you may wish to arrange a little extra space for them as well.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that. If I would be able to arrange a place for herd kind of thing.
Yeah, he gives you the name of the captain of the ship, and with a little correspondence, you negotiate some extra space for a few people.
Good enough. Of course, I will bring food for them as well.
Let's
I
say
won't
3 extra people, which is herd 1, a dot of herd.
Yep. I will, of course, as I said, bring food for them and clothes, etc. Help them travel.
So obviously you're not going to feed on them primarily, but they'll be there for an emergency if you need to.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right. Is anybody bringing any surprises? Any special, say, books that would be devastating if they were lost in a sudden storm? Anything like that?
Question.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Labiana.
I was just going to say, the only other thing Labiana would be considering bringing us things, the usual things for rituals if needed.
Oh, yeah.
Time.
I figure that's kind of like your the doctor bag that Nicodemus always carries around. You've always got
Pretty
at least
much,
a
yeah.
few things.
There's a ritual bag, I guess you could call it. Don't know about books though.
Would Alpna be able to try to get a gift for Alexander to present to him when she arrives?
Sure. What kind of gift?
Would she be able to have to maintain contact with Helena, and perhaps try to ask her for one of her tapestries?
Alethea?
No, Helena.
Oh, Helena. You do know that she's in Pompeii. That's the city as a whole is her domain. So it would not be out of the ordinary to write her and ask such things. I'm sure she gets such letters all the time.
Should I offer to trade my Nobun for one of her tapestries? Something handcrafted by her.
She would agree to that on the condition that you are. How can I put this? That you are giving it to somebody worthy of it, and she would be that arrogant.
Only to the best, as it is the only natural recipient that something crafted by you should have.
Yeah. The obvious insult there is she doesn't think you're worthy to keep her stuff. But she would agree to that, as she knows that the gift is going to a properly statused person. And I will record that.
Is the Prince of Athens a Ventru, or which clan would he be?
Athens democratically elects a new ruler like once a decade. Yeah, they're weird.
Okay, so who would be the current prince then?
That sounds like a intelligence plus politics roll at difficulty 9.
Okay, and I can't add my context to this, right?
Yeah, they're not gonna be able to tell you shit about Athenian politics.
Okay, what did you say again?
Intelligence plus politics, or clan lore, if you have clan lore, Ventru, at difficulty 9.
A second. I don't know why I have a wound penalty.
I don't know either.
Wait, let me fix that. Do you want me to roll 1 dice?
Just re-roll the whole thing.
Okay. Well,
You know nothing about Athens. That is the conclusion we can draw.
okay. Well, I will ask others then if they know anything about the Prince of Athens, the current prince.
Would Nicodemus know?
You know what? You have plenty of contacts in Thebes, and as well does Albina. So the two of you, one of you, please make a roll of intelligence plus politics, and because of your ties to that area, I'll make it difficulty 8. And you can help each other out. So add 1 dice. Whoever's rolling it, add a dice.
I do not have any politics, so I do not know if I can help.
You still know people.
Okay, so you help Nicodemus.
Okay.
With the dot of politics, could I help as well, like Labiana?
I don't think you have connections in the area. That's the thing.
Right.
So
pretty
what does
accurate.
the help action give? One
One,
dice?
yeah, get 1 extra.
Okay. Two successes.
Nice. You did hear that recently they elected a Bruja as prince of the, or I should say as I don't know what's the appropriate word I'm looking for here. As the head of the kindred of the city.
Representative, maybe?
Yeah, I want to say tyrant, but that's not the right word.
Inverted commas, Baron.
Yeah, call her Baron. That's good enough for now. They've elected him the Baron of the city.
And it's a Bruja.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know that's not the right word, but we're going to use that word for now.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So I will tell the group. I do think it might be a smart thing to buy a present for the prince of Athens, just as a gesture of our how to say it, a gesture of our good behavior, or a sincerity, if you will.
Sign of respect, perhaps.
Is it would it be appropriate, considering that we're coming in as clients of our patron, and likely he will be representing us as we come in? Perhaps we should consider any gifts to this particular prince with him.
I believe it might send the wrong message, a message of submission towards this prince and not towards a patron. Might be seen as a slight by Alexander, or others might see it as if we are slighting him.
Okay. What will my own etiquette knowledge would tell me, like instinctively or rather?
Your etiquette knowledge would tell you that Alexander invited you to come with him. Therefore, he is responsible. It is polite to bring a little something small. A trinket of jewelry, perhaps.
Right. Well, yeah,
Something like
I
that,
wasn't.
but nothing outrageous.
Extravagant.
Yeah, just something small
No.
to say, listen, I know that our patron Alexander invited us, but we also thought it would be appropriate to hand you this token of appreciation for receiving us to your city.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking something exaggerating. Just a small, tiny thing to be polite. Have some like you when you come to someone's house as a guest, this kind of thing. Just show
Yeah.
a little bit of respect. So I can get like a jewelry or something, a small. That
Yeah,
wouldn't be.
Nothing outrageous, just tell me if you're trying to be insulting or not. That's all I need to know.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to be insulting.
Yeah. If you're trying to be insulting, I need to know, and if you're trying to upstage somebody, I need to know. Other than that, I would consider that you guys have been extensive travelers, and you know enough to, play it safe.
Fabian will leave that to them.
Some treaties on Roman law.
Yeah, they would love that.
I was thinking, okay, from the beginning. Is Vivlia in Rome?
He is, as a matter of fact, in Rome. He is back.
Back from where?
He left to Asia Minor to study mathematics and celestial bodies with a mathematician quite some time ago.
Wow.
I would have to look that name up because I don't remember it off the top of my head.
Out of respect for him and his grandsire, Nicodemus would visit Vivlia and tell him that he's going to Athens and inquire if there's anything that he wished passed to Shalma.
So he is. I'm searching for. He actually has a place approximately 6 kilometers or so outside of Rome. It's up on a hill. He got himself a farm basically. He studied with a guy named Hipparchus of Nicaea. And he returned to Rome around 130 BC. So he's been back for about 30 years. And he has essentially built a observatory, or as much of an observatory as you can build in these days. He has a number of brass instruments, primitive sextants, things like that. He is studying the movement of the heavens and charting courses and doing some mathematical calculations on them.
Interesting.
Nicodemus would like to meet before departure. Perhaps there will be time for this.
Of course, like I said, it's got a couple of nights to do this. There is a couple of servants that attend him during the day. You roll up to his farm. It's a walled compound of sorts. Not incredibly secure. You might be able to hold out for an hour there if a force of 10 or 15 men tried to attack it. It's mostly there to keep the animals and stuff out. You received it very cordially. Come in, Nicodemus. I believe Master Vivlia has said that you are welcome here. So he shows you in. There are rolls of papyrus paper, scribbles on the walls, pieces of slate with chalk writing on it everywhere, stacked up in stacks. You see brass instruments. Some are half made, some are fully fabricated, all over the place. Out in the yard, there is a large, almost like a sundial, set up, and a water clock. You are escorted slowly through the space and out into the yard. He is looking up at the heavens, and he seems to be fixated on one spot. And he'll make a note, and he looks at the water clock, and he makes notes, and he's constantly checking angles as he's doing all of this.
Nicodemus is going to wait a moment to not interrupt him. As soon as becomes obvious, in case it becomes obvious that he's not going to get out of his fixated trance, Nicodemus is going to try to find a pattern in his calculations and try to make his presence known to him at the most opportune moment to not offshoot him from the most severe calculations.
All right. Due to your celestial attunement, you realize it is approximately midnight when he sets some of his stuff down, and it is just past the midpoint of the night, what we would call midnight, basically. And he comes over to greet you. His hands are stained with ink and a little bit dusty with chalk. He walks over to greet you in the manner of the Greeks, kisses your cheek and hugs you.
Nicodemus doesn't mind the stains. He's quite used to some of the noting dirt. Hello to you and your Temple of Science. How do you fare these nights? I hope I'm not intruding in anything too crucial to spare a moment.
No, I was comparing the movement of several heavenly bodies from this year to last year and the year before that.
Interesting. Is the pattern constant or does it change?
It actually seems to change. I've noticed there are several spots that are not appearing in the same manner or consistency as the others. I've was consulting with Hipparchus several years ago, and he theorizes that those bodies are significantly closer than some of the others in the heavens.
Do the changes seem to be having a constant progression?
I don't know yet.
Fascinating.
Quite. But what brings you out here to my isolated abode?
If I wouldn't admit that I was curious what was your progress. While our research perhaps doesn't see eye to eye, many of your topics of interest sparks mine as well. But I'm actually on a different matter. I am soon to depart to Greece, and one of the staying points will be Athens. I was wondering if there was anything that you that you would wish to be passed to Shalma in substance or word.
Oh, well, I haven't really thought about it, but I suppose he would appreciate copies of some of these instrument designs for posterity. When do you depart?
In several days.
Okay, well, I will have an assistant copy them for you, and you can load them onto your ship. For repayment, how about I have you out here and we can discuss mathematics?
Excellent. I was hoping for a treat like this. I have no doubt that Shalmat would also inquire of your well-being, no doubt. Is there any phrase or words you wish me to pass to him?
Not at all. Let him be curious.
Spoken like a true mystery man. After all, it is with everyone's nature to change a bit, so whatever I pass him might be outdated by the time I reach him.
I don't think he stirred from that library in 200 years. What year is it?
100 B. 100.
You give me the Roman year for that. I understand.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. 223 years that I know of, unless he's come out in secret.
How does he feed? Does he have servants escort his prey to him?
Well, you know, that would be impolite of me to expose a weakness.
Oh yes, yes, of course. That's probably the curiosity
I
getting.
mean, that might be
the
the only reason he ever emerges. But then again, it would not surprise me if a supply of fresh vitae was part of his bargainings for allowing people in to study. He may have changed up methods, I don't know.
Well, I'll see him. I'll take a note of how he is. Perhaps I'll relay I'll report everything to you if you'll be interested. And I don't have any other business than this. I would love to stay, but obviously you're busy. Therefore, I am grateful for this short visit and a chance to speak to you.
It has been quite some time, hasn't it?
Oh yes. Admittedly, I've been too distracted by some of the more political surface of our kind, and these constant interruptions have derailed me from the scholarly ways. But perhaps future years will bring some more room for catching up.
How do your studies go?
To be certain, to be frank, I seem to have stalled. It seems I feel that I'm held back by some of the inabilities in examination. Perhaps what tools we have are not yet able to progress the medicinal knowledge further. Or perhaps I need a change of environment, because Rome in this aspect seems to be stagnating for me. Or perhaps I need a new perspective. Perhaps we're operating on entirely incorrect concepts. Maybe the concepts are insufficient. I don't know.
Possibly. Perhaps while you are in Athens, you can look up the old haunts of Hephaestus. Hippocrates. Yeah, Hippocrates.
Say old what of Hippocrates?
His old stomping grounds. Look for his writings. Perhaps a look at the source material, uncorrupted by translations and copies.
Yeah.
Would reinvigorate the spark.
Oh yes, that's a very fair suggestion. Thank you. After all, some say that everything we hear is an opinion, not fact. It could be no different when you have source relayed by others. At any rate, I hope your studies are not as interrupted as mine, and that they're progressing. From what I see, it's blooming.
I honestly lost track of time. I didn't realize it's been 20 years since I did anything but this. How time flies.
I envy you to be able to be so lost in the driving pursuit of knowledge, and to escape the chains of every night considerations.
Have you Speaking of Shalmuth, have you heard from your own lineage? Benadab? Or any of his contemporaries?
Sadly, no. I know there are two new salubri in town in Rome, but I haven't had a chance to speak with them. They are not of any lineage I know. And my former renters. Oh well, Abinadab is still out there. Perhaps one time I will learn of his fate.
Perhaps, if there's one thing my studies have taught me, we need to be patient.
Oh yes, patience. It's quite a challenge to remain patient when your own curiosity and desire to know and to understand drives you. It's a both blessing and a curse.
You know, I can sympathize with that. I am not incapable of such a feeling.
But yet you seem to be having this more under control. How do you manage that? Is it too personal of a question?
The inner animal, the urge to destroy, you know of what I speak, right?
Of course.
In the philosophies of Plato, he talks about the ideal beings. I was forced to read them all. And I was privileged to hear several of his original students speak to me in person. And I came to the conclusion that the inner monster, the inner rage of the beast, to use such a crude term, within us feeds off of all of our emotions, good and bad. It feeds off of joy, and it seeks to balance. If you feed it rage, it tries to overpower you. And the solution I came up with to defeat it is to starve it.
So, is it just like that? You've withdrawn from any emotions, any passions? No, not
I
passion.
should not say withdrawn. I should say I have acted to deliberately cut it off.
How? Meditation?
Meditation, contemplation, constant practice, learning to recognize when I felt anything that was not driven by the mind, anything driven by the heart. It was not easy. I have never tried to share this before either, so I fumble for my words. Hope you don't mind. The first thing to understand, and what took me a long time, is that anything that has to do with rage is to be subjugated, not avoided, subjugated. Anything that would require me to make a decision based on love or hate or joy, you must disassociate yourself from the emotion before making the decision. It's not that you can't feel. The first step is recognizing that you cannot base anything on your feelings.
It's a very reasonable approach, but can one employ it in practice with success? Obviously you can, but then again, strictly hypothetically, were I to, I don't know, hypothetically put all this room, all this location, the whole sum of this observatory to the torch, would you be able to contain your beast?
I have experienced such rage in the past. You know that I lived at Carthage for a long time. That's no secret. One of the things that convinced me that we could never save it was when Troil had my buildings put to the torch, had all of my studies burned. I could save very few things. And that was the second major test I ever went through. I failed the first test of rage. I passed that one. I cannot read the future, and I could not tell you if I would pass it again. I would be lying to you if I said otherwise.
But now you have the tools from experience. I
Correct.
understand. Well, this is interesting, and I admit I was not expecting to have this conversation. Perhaps you could consider codifying your findings perhaps in a more anonymous way, if you do not want your personal secrets exposed. But what you state here is perhaps a useful approach that many people will benefit. Bring a spark of order to chaos.
Well, I've expressed some of these thoughts to some of my kin. If you happen to meet any of them, ask them if they've any other insight to offer. Perhaps they have some letters and such they might be willing to share. I don't know.
It's I would use the word thrilling, but perhaps it's not accommodating for the subject. Clearly, it's another thing that you've piqued my interest with. I would love to converse more on the matter. Perhaps glimpse on some of the particular methods you've employed to wrest control. I am yet uncertain if your methodology would match mine proclivities. After all, we Salubri are expected to empathize and join with the victims of their passions in order to bring deliverance from their problems.
Well,
but there is still merit, and
consider this as you go back and you sail. Consider to divorce yourself from making a decision based on emotion is not the same as divorcing yourself from emotion. How can you kill something that's part of you?
But in order to see that emotion and possibly see it impacting your judgment, you would need to be first disjoined from it in order to be able to perceive it before it overwhelms you. Is it not, in a way, escaping it?
You have hit on the first truth that took me a long time to figure out myself. The first step is to understand when you are feeling emotions. The second step is to attempt to damp those emotions, not kill them. You can't kill them. But you must learn to separate. First, you separate from your decision making. And then, as you become more experienced, you learn how to damper all the emotions, to keep them from becoming so overwhelming that you can make no decisions at all. You have seen me. We traveled together for a long time. It's not that we don't feel. It's that we don't allow ourselves to become overwhelmed by feelings. At least, we try not to.
Well, you have the ability to surprise me at every turn. I'm sure if I were to relay this conversation to someone, they would not believe it. I believe you have quite a reputation of being one of the coldest of our kind.
It keeps people from knocking down my door.
What did you say again?
That a reputation for being cold-hearted can keep the needy and useless from beating down your door looking for favors.
You have it all planned. Very sly. And there's the mystery. Now I know how you managed to have all this time to be able to be locked up and gaze the skies. Really should work on that.
Yeah. What's the term? Having a reputation as a misanthrope can be quite useful.
It could be a double-edged sword, however. There's quite a bit of a political discord and turbulations among the mortal populace. It has come to these days that even senators can be stoned on the streets because the people don't like their rulings. In such turbulent times, it's good to have contacts and have friends.
That is the risk you run. No decision is without drawbacks.
Yes, I am uncertain how this will impact our kind in the future, but perhaps this is something to take notice of and prepare accordingly. In case some dissidents would like to put control over your beast to another test.
Well, I appreciate the heads up, and I will keep it in mind.
I will not keep you from your studies then. Thank you for this meeting and the enlightening conversation. I'll be awaiting any news regarding or any packages you might wish for me to relay to Shalmat. And once I'm returned from Greece, I'm hoping for another conversation.
I mean it. When you can, come out here and we'll discuss the mathematics of existence.
Sounds like a great offer. Thank you. All right, so Nicodemus would excuse himself and bid him a good night. I assume there's enough time to return to Rome.
Plenty.
That's what he'll do. The rest of ideas that Nicodemus has in terms of preparations is we haven't really covered this, but do Nicodemus and Gregorius in the Salubri estate, do they have any servants?
They do, in fact, have some servants. Although it comes with a domain. So the domain is essentially considered to be self-sufficient.
I was thinking that since Nicodemus doesn't own any ghouls, he should probably have some servant to keep an eye on him during the travels. It's the days of carefreeness and self-reliance are long past by now. Is it possible to organize some trusted caretaker?
Yeah, absolutely. You basically would designate one of the servants to be in charge for a short amount of time. I believe Gregorius has. He might either have a retainer himself, or I haven't looked at a sheet in a long time. I have to check.
Well, actually, I was just going to say, I presume that every time we leave Rome, we'd be arranging a similar sort of thing for the cult.
Yeah.
During the times when we're all away.
I believe Alvina's Childer usually takes care of that.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, are you taking Gregorius with you? That's the question. I guess I should ask.
If we are able to, without possible damage to our domain.
Yeah, it's only going to be a short amount of time, so I don't see any issues why you couldn't.
Well, that would be the plan then. I know Gregorius is probably already suffering the same condition as Nicodemus. A bit of stagnation, and he'd love to travel as well. So if that's cool with him, then that's the plan.
Yeah, he'll do it.
Furthermore, Nicodemus would like to prepare a gift for Shalma. I believe some piece of writing, preferably a riddle. Is it something to be found in the various libraries in Rome?
Oh, absolutely. There's tons of that kind of stuff. So a couple of the next, let's say, two days, the day before you're going to set out, a crate arrives from Libris or Vivlia, depending on what you want to call them. It is packed with straw and wax tablets. If you happen to look through it, the wax tablets have a bunch of mathematical notation on it.
Does it require any sort of special security or special care?
They packed it pretty well. Just don't leave it sit out in the sunlight for long periods of time to melt the wax.
Certainly, we don't want to be Icarus.
Makes sense.
Okay.
There is also something for you that is there. It is a short treatise on a leather wrap, and it describes the very, very basics of spherical trigonometry. And how they believe it can eventually predict what they refer to as when Helios fails to rise, what we would call a solar eclipse. And there is a astrolabe.
Astrolabe?
An astrolabe. You are probably one of the first in Rome to ever have this. This was literally invented by the guy that Vivlia was studying with.
Is there anything from this that Nicodemus could use to, like, derive something from observing the night sky during travel?
You're not going to be able to really figure out too much of it without training, but you would very swiftly be able to realize it does correlate to the studies of heavenly bodies. There are things such as the lunar calendar. I'm just scrolling through Wikipedia, and they said that there's approximately 10,000 uses for this.
Okay, I guess the trips won't be too boring.
Says there's a 10th century astronomer deduced that there are around 1,000 applications for the astrolabe's various functions. So yeah, it's incredibly useful.
Okay, that's wow.
It does take some training to learn how to use it. But as far as Rome goes, you might be the only person in Rome other than Vivlia to have this.
Well, looks like Nicodemus will be entering new line of study. Time to brush up on the academics. Okay. This is very exciting for Nicodemus, obviously, but he has some other other things. He also wants to visit Olympia, and he prepares with a gift for her as well. I can't remember this character too well.
Yeah, you didn't really have a lot of time spent with her. The last time you guys saw her, she was quite crispy, and was eating the Prince of Missolonghi.
We also met her at Carthage, and she was very disjointed from the rest of the venture.
I forgot about that. Yeah, she was still somewhat recovering from her adventures. So mentally, she was still messed up mentally.
But she was shunned from the other venture.
Yeah, because she ate another venture prince.
Okay.
Yeah, she broke a taboo.
Okay, so this was the only reason. Okay. All right. Anyway, some kind of a gift just to break the ice, because Nicodemus will have business, and since we're going through Corinth, Nicodemus would also like to bring a gift too.
You'll be going through Corinth via the canal. Let's be clear about that. There's you're not going to be stopping there.
Oh, okay, that's fair. No stop. Okay, that's I guess this concludes Nicodemus's preparations for this.
All right. Anybody else?
We are not going to be stopping on Nafpaktos, or are we going to be stopping there?
You will be stopping there at least for a night, just to resupply, if nothing else.
Yeah, in that case, also got a gift for Olympia.
Awesome. Anything in particular, or just something nice?
Would the
You don't have to tell me something in particular. It could just be something nice, and we'll leave it at that.
I think I'm trying to think of what I know about her. If there's anything in particular that I know about her that could be good, but I cannot think of anything off the top of my head right now. So just something nice.
Okay, that's
He like
acceptable.
she likes nice cloaks.
She does like a nice cloak.
Get the nicest one that I can get.
A nice cloak trimmed in wool, with golden accents, a golden thread running across the top, some brocade work, some
Would they be able
jewels sewn
to
into it. Yeah,
perhaps some purple velvet insides?
probably not. Probably not purple. That's still.
Still too much.
Yeah, a little too
Off
much.
limits.
But it can definitely you can get something that will set you back a pretty penny.
She's not going light on this. She's trying to get the best that she can.
Even with the hit you took to your resources, I think you'll be okay for this. It's been a long time, and you've been able to save some money, so I don't see why not. Labiana, anything special in particular that you wanted to arrange?
Nothing specific that I can think of. Besides perhaps, helping with making the arrangements for the cult while she's gone.
Acceptable. Definitely within the social obligations of the Cappadocians. You expect me to give a gift? How about I not do something terrible to them? That's a good gift.
Pretty much.
All right.
She'll just presume that any gifts bought by any of the others are also from her as well. From the entire coterie.
Oh, that's funny. This is a gift from all of us, right? I mean, I know you bought it, but it's from everybody.
Sounds like something she'd do.
All right. Few days go by. You all meet on board the ship. You notice that Alexander has brought several people, and by several I mean about 15. A couple of guys and pretty much all girls. So there's a lot of women running around on board, and a lot of sailors giving them the appreciative eye. Although the captain seems to be very free with his whip and his little club, telling the sailors to keep their hands to themselves. Who would like to roll a encounter dice for me? Would like to roll a D100.
Can I roll because my luck sucks?
Sure, I would love. Let's do it.
Okay,
Oh,
what
boy.
do you want me to roll?
Roll a single D100.
Get ready to TP key. Is that
21.
enough?
Outstanding.
This time I will take everyone with me, guys.
All right. The ship is docked off of a small island for the evening. There's nothing here. It's literally just a spot where ships tend to stop overnight.
Okay.
All right, most
sounds
people are
nice.
sleeping. You guys are out, of course, on the deck. Nicodemus is playing around with his astrolabe, fiddling with it, reading some of the descriptions on it. Maybe you guys are talking about business back in Rome, plans to expand the cult, maybe, possibly working out philosophy of how the abyss relates to necromancy. And I would like all of you guys to make a hearing-based perception and alertness roll for me.
Okay.
Difficulty will be 7.
X bonus applies here.
Auspex will apply here, yes.
The -1. You said the original diff 8?
7.
7. Sorry.
Okay, 2, 2, 2. I'll tell you guys what. Let's. I'm gonna give Nicodemus a couple of minutes to come back. So, why don't we take a short break? We'll come back at 1/2 past, so 7 minutes by my clock.
Sounds good.
All right, so we're back. Nicodemus, need you to make a hearing-based perception and alertness roll with base difficulty 7, and you can apply Auspex to this.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, I caused a gangrel attack us, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
Pirates, actually.
Nope, not hearing a thing.
Oi. All right.
Oof.
You guys can decide. Are you on the beach or are you on the ship?
Do we have a reason to be on the beach?
Some people like to sleep on the beach if they can.
No, I would be on the ship.
I guess we're on the ship.
Yeah, I feel obliged. La Sombra Blood would call for her to be on the ship instead of the beach.
Now, can I ask something quickly?
I would be
Just
on the
to
ship too, because I would be worried they're going to sail off without me. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think I'd have any reason to sleep on the beach anyway.
Can I ask something?
sure.
Would my guardian or bodyguard ghouls be with me?
I don't know, are they?
Well, if they have space, I would like them to be with me.
Sure. There's just less cargo they're allowed to carry, that's all. Alright. The first you guys realize you're under attack, you hear, those of you who passed the roll, hear the twanging of bow strings as they shoulder some bows, and you hear the doom doom, and you realize you hear the arrows zip through a couple of the trees on and the leaves, and they begin landing in the sand, and people start panicking as they hear it. And, oh, we're under attack, pirates! Ah! And people start running away. People who are sleeping on the sands wake up and begin running, and you see people begin to emerge from the trees, shouting, "Get 'em, rah!" Screaming out a war cry. And then you look, and one of those real shallow-hollowed, they call it laburnum, emerges from around the island. It'll be here in approximately 3 rounds. So you
Will that
guys
ship...
have you are essentially you pulled up as the tide. You're kind of beached. So the people are running through waist deep water trying to get back to the ship, which they will be able to grab the nets and climb on board.
I will wake up Nicodemus. Because he did not pass the roll, so I will tell him that pirates are attacking us immediately. My ghouls will pick up their weapons and shields, because I do not think they will have time to get armor, wear their armor, so they will instead just pick up the shield and the sword. I will myself pick a sword as well, Gladius, just in case.
I was literally about to say Labiena had begun to notice what was going on, and then, you know, looks around at everyone, notices Nicodemus was literally in the heavens, and
Okay.
kind of taps his shoulder and points.
Oh, damn it! Not this again.
Yep. All right, I need you guys to give me a number between 1 and 15. Let's say 1 and 15. Nicodemus. Between 1 and 15, what would you say your number is?
8.
8. Albina.
6.
6. Labiena.
11.
11. Decius.
8? I don't know.
I need you to pick a different number. They already have
Okay. Okay. 1.
1.
Can I choose that?
Yep.
Okay.
Oof.
What's this supposed to mean? Am I
Arrow's
dead
hitting you.
again?
Arrow's hitting you.
Oh, beautiful. But I did
no.
say I boost my stamina. Can I do that?
You don't have it. You had a. You're not going to get a chance as the arrows begin sweeping the deck.
Okay, if you say so. Oh, Jesus
Again?
Christ. Can you please roll one more? One?
Oh man.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oof, just
that's
missed me.
5.
Barely missed that 11.
All right. So some of the arrows
Yeah.
begin
Whizzed
thumping.
past
You
my
hear
ear.
them bouncing at the bouncing off the side of the hall. They pass overhead. You hear cries of pain. Oh fuck! Oh god! As some of the people climbing the cargo nets get hit, and people are pulling themselves up, and you see them running out, and you see pirates, drawing back fire, draw back fire, draw back fire. Sweeping everything with arrows, trying to keep people hunkered down, mostly.
Labiena literally watches as one whizzes straight past her ear.
Yep. All right. This is Nicodemus. This hits you. I just need to see where it hits you. If it hits you at 9, then it hits you in heart. If it hits you at 6, it just hits you anywhere else.
Sure.
It just hits you anywhere else. Didn't hit you at 9. Soak 2 lethal. As an arrow hits you in the shoulder, you bend down to pick up a dagger and it just comes flying down, hits you right in the back, in the upper shoulder. Oh crap!
It bruised me.
Same thing, Decius, I gotta do this for you twice. That one did hit your heart.
Actually, sorry, forgot one dice. I'll just roll it. No, just enough.
Nice. So it hits you, but it gets stuck in your clothing, sort of a glancing blow. All right. So the one that hit your heart. 1, 2, 3, 4. Soak 4 lethal for me, Decius.
If I fail, how much will I get staked?
You need to. If you get 2 damage on a stake shot, you're staked.
I understand.
So it has to be more than 1 damage.
You know what? I'm going to use Fortitude, spending 1 blood, and soak all of it.
Okay. And you need to soak 3 lethal for the second arrow that hits you.
Okay, rolling for that.
Can't include Fortitude on this one since you used it for auto soak.
Yeah, but I can add the dice, right? That's how it works. You can't
I
auto
believe
soak
so,
again.
yes.
Okay.
All right. So arrows come flying out, whoosh, whizzing through. An arrow hits Nicodemus in a glancing blow and just slices through his clothing. Lands on the deck. 2 arrows bounce flat off, straight up, bounce off of Decius. And if anyone, who nobody is paying attention, but if anybody was paying close attention, you would have seen a slight glow of fortitude as the fortitude takes effect and prevents him from actually getting hurt. A few arrows also hit Alexander, and you see the same sort of thing, where they just bounce off of him, and he's like, "Oh, really? You're hurting my clothes. Come on, guys."
I assume the crew that mans our ship is not aware that we're vampires, right?
Correct.
Okay.
We should probably go below deck then. Because we got lucky.
Well,
right there.
actually, will these people able to defend themselves, or are we the only solution out of this?
Well, there is a couple of sailors who stand watch for this kind of stuff, and they are, right at the moment, one of them's busy waking up the rest of the crew, and the pirates are surging through the water, and as they finish speaking, they will be climbing the ropes. So,
Right.
as they begin to appear over the sides of the deck, how do you guys react? You see hands
are there-
climbing. A hand reaches up and grabs the top of the net, and a face appears over the side. Vorpal, Denkademus.
Because you said there are 3 turns of approach. Can I do anything during these 3 turns?
You had time to grab your. Well, the ship is on its way. That was 3 turns.
Okay, so get hit, run back,
Grab your daggers. You can spend a little bit of blood, and
But
now you're ready for hand to hand.
okay, but actually, I noticed. Was any of our guys shot? I mean, the mortal crew.
They were wounded. Several were hit with arrows. Nobody was hit fatally.
Well, that's
Okay,
good.
so no one's bleeding out on the deck, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Damn, so no dead bodies to your belt.
And they're climbing on the nets that are attached to our deck, right?
Correct.
Can I cut the ropes to like make them fall?
Too much rope to cut. You can cut the rope to be clear, but you're gonna have to cut a whole lot of rope and not much time to do it.
Well, fuck it. Let's boost the stamina and dexterity, and jump to the first phase that arrives and just stab it in it.
All right. Give me a Dex melee roll at difficulty 6, please.
It's combat.
Sending my blood. Okay, what was the roll again?
Dexterity and melee.
Okay.
He can't dodge this. His hands are kind of full, and they were counting on the arrow storm to make you guys cower down so they could climb the ropes.
Staying out the ranks, as it were.
Yep, that's their normal tactic. All right, you smash this guy straight in the face with your weapon. So give me a damage roll. Albina, what are you doing?
As Albina sees the ship that is, there is still arrows coming from the ship. Is the ship still firing at us?
The ship is rowing desperately towards you, and there are a couple of guys on the shore firing arrows, but most of them ran up to the nets. They are not a threat at the moment. Arrows
The
are not a
arrows.
threat.
Okay. Yes, I think she's going to join up at keeping the guy from being able to climb up the ropes, not using any of her powers yet because to not risk breaking the silence of the blood with the crew.
Awesome.
I'm
All right,
just going to
Dex brawl or Dex melee, whichever it is you prefer, and whichever if you have a weapon, of course. And they are just human, so if you inflict any significant damage, they scream "ah!" and fall off, bleeding heavily, possibly dead. Well, only one success. You cut him severely, Nicodemus, but do not succeed in driving him off. All right, so Labiana is using her disciplines to become Algor Mortis. How about you, Vlad? Your bodyguards are rushing upstairs with their weapons. So that's what they're doing this round. They slid down the ladder super quick, jumped to their cabins, and getting their stuff, and you hear them clamoring back up, but they are not ready to defend you yet. So you have to do something. What are you doing?
I am on the, what is it? The first floor or whatever they call it, right? I'm in the open.
Yes, you were in the open.
Okay. And am I surrounded right now? Just to be clear.
You could jump off the seaward side of the ship just fine.
Okay. No, I was just worrying about being surrounded by the enemies. Either case,
They
I
are
will.
climbing. They're climbing.
Okay. I'm going to boost my stats.
Okay.
I'm going to spend. I'm going to spend 4 blood, 2 to dexterity, 2 to stamina.
Okay. What else?
I'm going to take a full defense action.
Alrighty. You can do that.
I'm going to do this like trying to protect Alexander. So I'm I'm kind of standing not 1 meter front of him, but at least like a 2 meter front of him, just to give him some space for himself, but also seemingly trying to protect him as well as myself.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right.
Excuse me.
Approximately. How many damage? So Albina, with you did 4 damage to this man. You jammed your weapon straight down into this guy's neck, shoulder area. You rip a huge gash in it. He clutches at it. Oh! Blood just pours out onto the deck. And he falls off. Falls off into the water. Splash! People on top of the deck are panicking. They're running away. They're trying to get underneath. They're jamming up. So they're getting in the way of the bodyguards who are trying to get up on the deck. And everyone's trying to get below the deck to be safe. So there's a big traffic jam right there. They all are up on top, and they're going to be engaging in contested actions. There's 4 of them and 4 of you. The one Nicodemus slash is coming after him. So Nicodemus engaging in hand-to-hand? Or what are you wanting to do here?
How many more are coming? Does it seem like there's a captain on the enemy vessel? And how far is the vessel?
The vessel is going to be here in a couple of seconds. So next round it'll be here, and they will begin boarding.
Once they board, is it possible to swing via rope to it or something?
Yeah, they will probably pull up right next to you guys and throw some hooks over top, and just climb
drop
on
closer.
top. Yeah, exactly.
Probably.
I guess we'll need to be cutting those then. Okay, trying to engage with my guy and trying to off him as fast as possible.
Right. Awesome. Contested dex melees as he draws a freaking long knife and comes at you.
Okay, I'm gonna toss in some more oomph. Where's my oomph?
You only need 2 successes.
Yeah, but I'm umping oomph.
Did you say it oomp?
Yeah, oomph. I need more oomph. Oh, gee.
Is it like mojo?
It's kind of like anti-oomph.
Well, not entirely. I got at least 1 success.
Yeah, that's true.
This guy, just for whatever reason, you slip, you stumble, you slip on the blood, and your knife goes wild. This guy comes in and rams his knife straight into your gut. Just whack, 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 whack. 3 or 4 times real quick. Soak 3 lethal. As several more appear on the deck. Roll up, come up with their knives, come after you guys. he thinks he got you pretty good, Nicodemus. He feels that you should probably be going down, hurt. All right, the rest of them I'll take after. So, Albina, guys coming after you.
Someone is really angry.
Yeah. Yes. Decius, the guy's coming after you.
Do you want me to roll my defense?
Yes, I do. And
Okay, for
Labiana,
which one?
a guy is coming after you. How are you defending? Parry? Dodge?
Because I have plans to increase my melee later on, I'm gonna say I'm trying to parry with my Gladius.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
Dex melee.
Who was the second one coming after?
It is Albina, Decius, and the third one's Labiana.
Okay.
So you need to meet or you need to exceed the number of attack rolls on the attacker's successes. If you tie it, you both take damage.
So we're talking.
So you
What's
need
the roll for that?
Dex and melee. If you're going
It's
to,
melee. Okay. Parry.
if you're just going hand to hand with weapons. That's what I'm just to simplify actions. Whoever gets more successes wins. Oh no, Decius botches. Yay!
Oof.
All right, Labiana, your attack hits him before his attack hits you. So go ahead and roll your damage. And I'm going to go ahead and roll for Decius's damage. Decius, you go full defense. You attempt to parry, and your sword twists in your grip, and you go to block, and it just swings wide, and your sword goes woof, 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 and hits the water.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. As you're like, oh, shit, and then his knife hits you.
Strength +2, isn't it?
For a Gladius, yes. Plus 3 extra successes.
In this case, +3. So I have to temporarily to 5.
Alright, Decius, soak 3 lethal for me. Alright. Labiana, you decapitate him. Yep. One swift motion, this guy lunges at you, and you just twist your hips a little bit and use the motion to bring your sword straight down across his neck, and his head thumps and goes rolling, and like a chicken, he stumbles for a couple of steps and then falls over, blood pooling in a huge spilling mess, begins to soak the cargo net ropes. Alright, Decius, he knows he hit you. He knows straight up. And it just, the knife hits you and just twists. And does no damage except for cutting your clothing.
I will look annoyed.
Yeah. And he says something in Greek to the effect of, "That's impossible."
I'm just gonna smile at him.
Alexander dominates him. Looks him dead straight in the eyes and says, "Jump on board your other ship, head first." And the guy takes off running and does a swan dive. Ah, boom, head first.
Headshot.
I could just imagine that. Whee!
Yeah, a look of incredible fear on his face as he can't stop his feet from doing this. Like, please stop me, no! Ah, boom.
Was that the guy who attacked me?
Yes,
Can I ask something quickly?
sure.
How does Alexander react to me trying to defend him?
He doesn't.
Okay.
You're really playing a suck adventure.
Hey, it's efficacy or something like
All
that.
right. So there's a couple of you still battling, but there's a couple of you who are free, and those of you still fighting, Albina and Nicodemus are still involved hand to hand. You hear clang, clang, as hooks are thrown up and the laburnum comes to a stop, and then you hear the boats thump, poof, together, and then men begin climbing the ropes.
So the ship is now, the enemy ship is now
Yes,
on
ship
us?
is now
Yeah,
there,
connected.
Right next to us.
but they have to take this round to climb.
Okay. Do we say approximate numbers?
30.
Oh shit.
Jeez.
I was going to say, and are there any sort of visible enough for Labiena to draw her bow and arrow at the ready?
Yeah, you can use your free time to just drop your gladius, grab bow and arrow, and you're ready to go.
Try and start taking out
Yep.
the ones that are starting to board.
Right? Decius, how about you? You are unoccupied at the moment.
Okay, here's my question. My ghouls are still preparing, right?
They're caught in the press of panicked people trying to shove their way out from underneath the deck.
Okay. Would it be possible for me to go under the deck, grab a shield, and come back?
Not in one round.
It's okay. It's okay. I will just look at Patron Alexander and I say, I will come back as fast as possible. And I want to take my turn rushing to the under the deck
Okay.
to grab a shield.
All right, so you're effectively out of the combat for a couple of rounds. It's going to take you probably 30 seconds or so, which is going to be 4 or 5-ish rounds. Again, it's a big traffic jam. People are trying to get up. People are trying to go down. A lot of screaming, yelling, "Get out of my way! No, save us! No! Oh my God!" The crew's trying to work their way up past the panicked passengers. It's just a big mess.
Just a quick question: If I do when I'm doing this, would it be bad behavior? Like, I don't know. Will it be okay behavior on my side?
I mean, I can't answer that question. It's you're not running away from the challenge. You're trying to get better prepared.
Yeah.
Is it a great decision? As a guy who loves adventure, no, it's not. As a storyteller, yeah, it's a good decision.
Okay. Yeah, well, I will pick up the shield. I'm really bad at fighting.
That's what dominate and presence are for. Just saying.
But wouldn't that be Masquerade Breach?
No. How they gonna?
Okay,
how they
I will
gonna say
say
that- How's somebody gonna say, "I love you. You're a vampire, but I love you"? No.
Okay, then I will stay then on the board with the others.
I count there's chaos, complete chaos.
Oh yes.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and as long as you're not doing any flashy things, it's probably gonna go unnoticed.
Okay, sure,
Yeah.
sure. I will not run down then. I will not do that. Is there anyone I
gonna say,
can
like-
dominate?
At, at,
like
the-
Alexander just demonstrated.
at this very second, there's nobody to dominate. You can go ahead and take care of Albinus, actually.
Okay, I will go take care of Albinos.
Yeah, give me
I
a
will
dominate roll for Albinus.
Okay. What would that be? Oh, it's manipulation, I believe, and something.
Intimidation.
Yeah,
Either
I think
intimidation
so.
or leadership.
Okay. It's going to be same. Okay, I'm rolling.
Just
Just
want
to
to
give
make
me a
sure it's
second.
not charisma. So. Yeah, manipulation and
suppose
leadership.
Leadership. Okay.
What do you tell him?
Sorry. Pretty much jump to the sea and swim away.
Okay. He drops the dagger and he runs and jumps
What's the
overboard.
difficulty?
I see 5 successes.
No, that
Oh,
was
that's your so-called.
for. Yeah, that was so cool.
It's his willpower, so 3.
Okay.
Yeah, before he can stop himself, with a weird look on his face of like, "What the hell am I doing?" He just turns around, takes 2 steps, leaps off the ship, hits the water, and begins to swim and claw away swim away. Nicodemus, you got one last chance to take this guy out.
Okay, so Nicodemus takes the blow. He kind of feigns that he's been hurt, playing a very little theater while healing himself a bit, and then he's like, "Surprise, motherfucker!" and in the gut.
All right. Go ahead. Albina, are you on?
I'm on what?
Okay, you hadn't responded to the guy that was attacking you, so I didn't know if you.
Oh, okay. I did not. I noticed that roll for attacking, but I did not know I roll for damage.
Okay. All right. Well, the guy that was fighting you got dominated to run away, so he did. Nicodemus, this time you clearly outmatched him by quite a large margin. So give me a damage roll, including your extra successes. Albina, boarding hooks have been applied. The Liburnum crew is coming aboard.
Yeah. Would I be able to use my potence to like bend the teeth of the boarding hooks and toss them off overboard?
Yeah, sure can.
So yeah, I'm going to do that. Run over to one of the boarding hooks and tear them off from the ship.
Yeah. These things are actually made of brass, so they're not terribly strong.
Really? I thought they would make that stuff strong to be able to, not be able to be removed easily.
Yeah, but these are Liburnum. The Liburnum don't do, big battles at sea. They were meant for stuff like this. Quick jump, up and out, and brass is significantly easier to get a hold of. So, yeah, you wouldn't be able to do that to iron. You couldn't do it to iron, but brass, absolutely. Brass or wood, but brass has the weight that you need. So, yeah, you just grab this thing and you just and you feel it start to straighten out and it loses its grip and you hear one guy go, "Oh crap!" and boom, you hear a thud as he falls down on the ship underneath him. Oh! But there's 4 or 5 more of these hooks, and people are climbing the ropes super quick. Hop, pop, pop, overhand. Nicodemus, you got that? They got that damage roll for me. Just want to see how easily you kill him, because that was a lot of successes.
Okay.
3. You give him a pretty good whack. Cut him from chest to stomach. He staggers away. Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Looks down. He's not quite disemboweled. But he does stagger away quite badly hurt. He's basically out of the fight. He could easily kill him if you wanted to. It would just be a distraction, though, at this point.
Probably easier and probably better to just give him a swift kick overboard.
Okay.
Just boof.
So, in order to cut down on, so we don't do a bunch of rounds of pirates boarding, first off, I want to give, since Labiana's never had a chance to use this freaking bow, Labiana, Dex and Archery.
Well, not this combat anyway.
Headshot this
the
dude for
werewolf.
me, please. Right, yeah. Give me another eyeball shot. That would be awesome.
I was gonna say, so diff 9 again?
just give me a diff 6. Seriously, you're gonna hit this guy's head if you hit him. You know where he's coming up. You could probably lean over the top of the ship and look down on him and be like, "Hey, surprise!" Fire straight down at him.
Should be incoming any moment now.
All right. Nice. I see
Ja.
a 10 and a 9. That is another eyeball shot. No, don't even bother to roll damage. This guy's, he pops up, and you go, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Shot right to the eyeball, straight into his left eye. Punches, and scrapes against the back of his skull. You have enough time to grab yourself an arrow trophy if you want, before he falls off.
What, you mean yank it back out
Yeah.
again?
Yeah, she could always do with the. Oh well, it's probably going to be too damaged to.
Yeah,
use
it
as
is
a
going to be quite
homunculi.
damaged, but that's still pretty cool. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Grab that arrow, yank it out of his head as he's falling backwards.
Yeah.
What is your guys' plan on dealing with 30 pirate boarders?
Albina's main plans to try to make so the ship can sail away from this, and that means getting the body hooked out of it.
Okay. All right. How about the rest of you guys?
Yeah, so far that's the best plan. Disengage them before they can pour in. Do we have
Yeah.
anything that we can push away from them? Do we have any? Are there any poles?
You
That you
have the
can use.
oars that are underneath.
Oh.
If you can get word to the crew down below to use their oars to push away the pirate ship.
I think that's the best
Well,
to do
I think
now.
I think the question is how many hooks do we still have attached to the ship?
Yeah.
5.
Oh,
How many of us are there on
Well,
deck?
what I foresee is Albina using Obtenebration to summon Arms of Ahriman to deal with these hooks.
But wouldn't that be a breach of the blood, silence of the blood to the rest of the crew?
I don't
That's
think
my
the
main
crew's
worry.
paying attention. They're trying to get weapons. Like I said, they're caught up in the mass panic.
Alright, if I see an opportunity to use them without breaking the silence of the blood, I'm going to do so.
All right. So yeah, use Obtenebration for that. You could summon the tentacles on the side of the ship too, and just tear the ropes apart.
Yeah, pretty much. You can do it on the other side, so people on our ship doesn't see it, just the pirates see it.
Or we
One
can
of you
kind of try
guys
and
has
obscure
to get word
as
to
well.
the crew down below to use your oars to push away. What would the rest of you want to do?
I can tell the people to do that. I can
So
let the
Decius has
people.
that.
Okay. Does it mean that Albina can deal with all 5 of them?
Yeah, so that's going to leave Labiana and Nicodemus to deal with any stragglers that get aboard.
Yeah, that's the plan.
That sounds like a plan.
How spaced out are those 5 hooks?
They're relatively even.
there's-
Albina took care of one right in the middle, so there's a big gap in front of Albina.
Shit. Okay, I guess we just need to hunker down near the entrances, near the hooks, and just pick up the stragglers.
Right. Okay. So Albina, I would like you to summon the arms, and however many rounds it takes you to summon the necessary arms is going to be however many people these guys have to fend off. And as you're summoning them, the crew begins to... okay, so we said 5 hooks, so 2 rounds. The crew begins to emerge from the hatch, and Decius runs below decks. He begins shoving people. Decius, give me a charisma and leadership roll.
Yeah.
I was going to say what are the chances of after, like, if Albina, obviously in this case isn't able to summon quite enough, what are the chances of us taking care of that last hook ourselves?
I think you could arrange to have that done.
Because that was going to be part of Labiena's plan.
Oh no! All right, so first round you only get 1 success. You're going to need more than that, Decius. So,
Can I actually ask something quickly?
sure.
Would it be possible to do this after A?
You can activate all next round and then roll it again.
Okay.
All right. So it's going to be at least 2 rounds.
Okay.
Right.
And they're not on board. They're just entering, right?
The first 4 people appear and pull themselves up. Sorry, first 4, because one of them died and fell on the guy below him, and Albina took care of the 6th one. So yeah, there's only 4 people that climb up. Labiena and Nicodemus, give me attack rolls. Or whatever other action you are going to take here.
Okay. If they're still entering, is it possible to just shove him, like dagger shove him or something?
Yeah, absolutely.
Not as much force, so he just trips over the railing and falls into the water rather than actually fight him.
Yeah, so you get a heartbeat as the hand, as he's climbing the rope, right? You see a hand grab the side near the hook. The second hand grab the side. The face appears. He's got his knife clenched between his teeth, and he's getting ready to pop himself up. And that's your opportunity, right before he gets his footing, to run up and dagger to the face or Sparta kick him.
Yeah, Sparta kick him.
All right.
Yeah.
Dex Brawl, difficulty 7 for a kick.
Okay. Let's
gonna
toss
say-
in willpower for this. 8 dice. 7.
Meantime, I'm
And Labiana, what you
presuming
doing?
I'm presuming this next one's going to be close enough for a gladius assault
Yes, he will.
rather than a bow and arrow.
All right. Roll damage. It's strength +1. He cannot dodge this, obviously, because he's climbing the board.
Standard diff for this.
Yeah, please, diff 6. All right. I'm going to give him a strength roll to keep his footing. Pure strength. All right. Labiana, you do hit the guy. Give me a damage roll. Nicodemus, you kick the guy, and he almost loses his balance, but he manages to catch the side of the ship. However, the person climbing up behind him is now delayed because there's a guy right with his ass right in front of his face, and he can't quite make it. All right, Labiana, you successfully murder the man coming up aboard. All right, that leaves only 2. One peels off to attack Albina. One peels off to attack Labiana.
It should be known that every time Labiana kills someone, she's paying close attention to exactly how they're dying.
Okay.
Being a true Cappadocian.
Albina, the guy with the knife, attacks you for 1 success.
Okay, roll to soak.
Soak 2 lethal for me. Labiana, he got 3 successes on his attack, or 4, so 3 extra. And his
wait,
damage
so-
roll sucked ass. You don't have to soak anything.
Me.
All right, Albina, he does knife you. It does hurt. You take 2 lethal. Labiana, you take nothing because this guy can aim really well, but he hits like a little girl. There's no power behind this whatsoever. All he did was nick your clothing.
Yeah, Labiana will just look down and look back up at him and.
All right, Decius, I need another leadership roll. You said you're going to use all.
Yes,
Not
roll
bad.
for all first.
Yeah, so roll all and then roll leadership. You all hear the ropes groan, they creak, and then you hear this snapping sound of a high tension cable just exploding apart. Boom, 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 boom. As 4 of the ropes shatter and are torn apart by the shadow tentacles. Decius is doing his best to shout and scream and holler, "Use your oars!" And they're not listening to you. A couple of guys are. A couple of them
let's see.
are, but not everybody. Not enough.
Let's say it's because of the chaos. It's not because I'm so bad at this.
All right.
You cannot overshout the
Yeah,
panic.
the screaming and the panicking, and everybody's trying to give contradictory orders, and some of the oars the pirates are grabbing onto them, so people can't use them effectively. So there's a lot of fighting and resistance. So there's 3 people managed to climb on board total. So there's now 3 of them attacking the 3 of you left on board the top.
How many
was gonna
successes
say,
am I
was there
looking
enough-
at?
You need at least 1 more success, Decius.
I was about to say, was there enough time to sort of race over to that last hook to try and unhook it?
You know what?
Or break it or something.
Give me a dex melee to hack at the rope before the last guy can climb up.
Standard diff?
Yeah, standard diff. You run up and you slam that blade. Bam, bam, bam. With 1 success. Give me a damage roll. You never know. The handle might slip and you might hit it with the flat of the blade. Yep, that rope goes. You see it snick, unwind, snaps under the tension. The last two don't notice this. They come after Albina and Nicodemus.
I'm just going to try to go to stab the fucker.
All right, Albina, he hits you for 2 successes, so you need to roll 3 in order to get him before he gets you. Nicodemus, same thing. Only he botches and he falls overboard. All right, so the guy that Nicodemus Sparta kicked and managed to hold, he goes to pull himself forward and he goes to grab his knife out of his mouth, and his feet slip out from under him, and he does a face plant, and his nose bounces briskly off the deck. Whack! And you clearly hear the crunch of a breaking nose. And then he does this weird fishneck worm thing and flops overboard and falls back onto the pirate ship. And Albina, you successfully stab the man before he stabs you. Give me a damage roll. Decius, one more leadership roll, if you please.
Okay.
Coordinate these men on the oars. All right. Albina, you don't apply wound penalties to your damage rolls. I don't know why. But anyways, that was enough to successfully kill the man. So there's like 4 corpses on top of the deck, I think, 3 or 4. One of whom is headless. 2 of them are dying or dead of massive slash wounds. Sorry, 2 or 3 of them. So there's a wash of blood across the top as the pirate ship is pushed away. The oars dip the water. You hear the beat drum start up, and the men begin to row away as the ship begins to take off from its moorings, from its dock.
Okay, so are we out of combat now?
We are out of combat.
Okay. Can I ask if there is any corpse on our ship that might be the type of food I can, consume?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I don't think
Can
these
I?
pirates meet your definition.
Yeah.
Can Nicodemus feed?
Yes,
Just
you
grab
can. Grab one of those corpses and take what's left in them.
In a concealed way, just drag him someplace before anyone sees him do it.
Yeah, you drag him around the back passenger like you're going to drop him off the side. And you take a couple of seconds to dip into the tasty nectar of pirate blood.
Now, would there be
Okay, how
Any-
much? How?
sorry.
Sorry. I'll just finish this.
Nicodemus, you get 6 from the guy you're feeding off of.
Excellent. 1, 2.
Well,
Okay, all
I was
yours.
about to say this is something I haven't done in a while. But would there be any kind of way, any possibility that in a kind of concealed way, Labiana might be able to sort of stoop over one of the corpses and perhaps take a hand?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, you can.
Like, it's about time she had a third homunculi.
I mean, there is a head rolling around on top of the deck, too, if you wanted a head.
Yeah, why not take 2?
Are you
I
building?
mean, she'll take the one that she procured herself.
So you pick up the head. This is my trophy.
Yep.
By the way, how does Labiena appear to our guys? Is there a veil or a helmet?
Presuming she's got a mask on. She usually runs around with a mask on.
Okay.
And her cloak. He's got a heavy cloak. with
So,
a hood.
is there a sign of pursuit?
There is no pursuit. They have several people are dead. The ship is not designed for open sea sailing, really. It's more it can, but they try to stick to coastal, and the ship is headed away. Your ship is headed away from the waters that the Liburnum like to patrol.
Excellent. Are there any wounded on our side?
Some
Like-
minor arrow wounds. Guys got hit in the shoulder. Some slices along the ribs where arrows hit them and stuck in the side. Minor stuff. Nicks, cuts. Say one guy might have a broken hand from the crush. His hand got crushed. There's definitely some stuff you could help heal.
Yeah. Guess me and Gregorius are going to do it.
Decius will go to Alexander and he will just ask, I hope these pirates did not annoy you too much, patron Alexander.
He had some fun.
I'm gonna grab him.
Have been entertaining for him.
He says,
mean, that's-
so listen, Decius, maybe you should commission a play or something when we get back. About how the crew of the Heroic, and he looks over the side and he reads the name of this ship. Heroically fought off pirates to save the Virgin Maidens' honor that they are taking to the temples. How the terrifying pirates pursued them across several islands, and the crew sacrificed much of their blood and safety, but maintained their integrity and never touched their chastity.
I would, out of character, was it some subtle, burn or something like that?
He's testing to see how much you suck up.
Okay. My patron, I would wish to do that, but I'm not really good at that part of arts, I guess. Maybe when I am good enough, I can do that.
I didn't say you should write it. I said you should commission one.
I can definitely do that if you wish to see it.
Just make sure you hire a good one. Perhaps, and he pulls out a list, like a literal list. And he starts reading, you should ask this man first, and this man second, and this man third.
I actually if he looks at my face, I actually read the list and pay attention to it. I don't just brush it off. I will see what I can do.
Wonderful. And now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go and inspect my lovely ladies and make sure they really have maintained their sense of pride. If I say so. Good evening.
Good night.
Good evening.
He does stop by all of he does personally thank all of you for your actions. And then heads on
Okay.
deck, allowing you guys to bask in your enjoyment of a job well done.
Alvin is going to grab one of the wounded pirates, take him over next to some dark spot, drinking a little bit from him.
All right, you get about 6 from the guy.
Yeah, but she's not trying to kill him. She's just trying to drink a little bit, and then she's going to toss his while he's still alive overboard.
Okay, yeah. So you grab the guy, that Labiena. He's barely alive. He's on the verge of death already. He's going to die. And you just feed him a little bit to give him the pleasure of the vampiric kiss. So the pleasure of the kiss and the pain of the wound and his impending death are at war. And then you toss him overboard for the salt water to get into his wounds and really drive in the pain before he drowns. or bleeds to death, whichever comes first.
She stays on the deck watching his form on the shore, on the water. Small smile forming upon her face.
All right. All told, it takes approximately 6 nights, or 6 full days and nights of travel to reach Nafpaktos.
How do we handle the blood?
Spend 6.
Okay. So we don't have a moment to hunt or something like that,
No.
right?
No, you don't.
Something Labian will do as soon as we get there.
Right. You
As soon
do
as we have the
eventually pull
opportunity, once
into
we get there.
Nafpaktos. This is a fairly standard stopover. Nafpaktos. It's a city of between 20 and 30,000 people. You know, you guys have spent so long in Rome. To come to a town of this size is just unbelievably quiet. It just seems tiny. It's not so different as to how you remember it. The harbor's a little bit expanded. Some of the buildings are different. The scent is the same. Waste, trash, human effluent. A few dead fish lay on the beach, bloated with flies. The town honestly seems deserted. It seems empty. And again, that's just, you're so used to the press and the crowd of Rome. So many people. Everywhere you look, people. Alexander comes up, talks to you, and he says, so the tide is going out during the day at some point, so we have tonight to explore some old haunts or call in favors. I am going to go offer a sacrifice at the Temple of Poseidon, so have fun.
Just
Do you
Go ahead.
intend to?
no, you go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You started talking first.
No, you go ahead. Come on.
Thank you. When Alexander presented the tapestry from Helena, how does he react?
With genuine pleasure.
Awesome.
I was going to ask if I know anything about. Okay, if I want to hunt here, do I need to do something beforehand? Like, do I need to go visit some kind of prince or kindred or anything? Just to be clear.
That would be an
should.
etiquette roll.
Okay.
If you don't know, we're going to make this an etiquette roll of intelligence and etiquette.
Now, I do know that when you are staying so, short amount of time, you don't really need to go and talk with anyone. But I want to make sure.
You probably need to ask permission for feed.
Yeah. So what did you say, Chris?
It's intelligence and etiquette.
Okay. It's lagging a little bit.
I think he's typing a reply.
I'm just waiting on the roll to show up, so...
No. Oh, it is lagging.
There we go.
Yeah, there it goes.
Okay, it was lagging, so I rolled twice.
Alright.
First one goes in.
With
Yep.
one success, yeah, it's... If you're staying an incredibly short amount of time, it's no big deal, but they usually frown on people just feeding wherever and whenever they want.
Right. Okay, so a good thing for me to do would be get permission from the owner of the domain, right?
That would be the Ventru polite thing to do.
Yeah, I will try to do that. I will try to do that. I don't really know who to talk to, so I might ask to Alexander before he leaves and to others if they know. Or maybe my character knows it, I'm not sure.
I was gonna say, would we have any idea where the current, or where any of the princes kind of station themselves in Athens?
Oh, well, you're in Nafpaktos, and
Nafpaktos.
no, you don't.
Okay. Does Alexander know where the prince is?
No, he doesn't.
We don't know the old place that Olympia had. That would be a good place to start, I imagine.
Start.
Okay. I will tell others that I want to hunt because I need it. So if they want to, I'm going to try to find the prince. So if anyone wants to follow me and get permission from the prince like me, they are free to do so.
That's exactly what.
Such is
Lovey
my
is
plan
gonna
as
do.
well. I have
Yeah.
some personal business I hope to complete with Olympia.
Okay. Then if everyone is coming, I will leave my ghouls in the ship instead of coming with me.
Okay. You vaguely remember where this place was. You can make your way there. If the colony is laid out as most Greek colonies are, it was about here, somewhere in this vicinity. You make your way there now. There appears to be nothing special about the neighborhood in particular.
Do-
If you guys can roll wits plus law or wits plus I want to say streetwise, but I know that's not a thing.
Legitimate.
Yeah, ledger domain. Wits plus law or wits plus let's say commerce. Wits plus commerce.
Oh, even worse. Okay.
I have neither.
What's the difficulty?
6.
Yep.
So can we just roll wits then at difficulty 7?
Yeah. Nobody else needs to roll because Nicodemus nailed it.
Okay.
Um,
Excellent. Thank you,
Nicodemus,
Nicodemus.
it occurs to you that the tax collector might actually be able to, if he's asked the right questions, might be able to direct you in the appropriate manner. Now, the way taxes and stuff work, Rome has essentially established a governorship, a consul, usually a former consul, over the entire region. And they essentially hire a company or a person to collect taxes. And so the company or person will say, I will collect $1 million in taxes for you from this town a year. And they say, okay, that's great. You do that. Well, so then that tax collector will then actually go collect $1.5 million for that vicinity. That's how they make their money. They pass $1 million on to the proconsul, and the proconsul gives Rome $750,000 because they got to take their cut.
Okay. I'm a bit lost. Why is the tax collector linked to finding Olympia?
Because the tax collector is essentially the most powerful citizen in the city. And he would be able to talk to you about the best areas, the best citizens.
Right.
Okay, let's find the tax collector then.
Yeah, it's easy. You probably go to a nearest shop or whatever and ask if where's the tax collector. Everybody knows him and everybody hates him.
That's exactly right. There are
sense.
very few shops open. They're pretty much all closing up, but pretty much anybody that is on the street can point you in their direction. Yeah, he lives in a big house at the top of the hill. And then they spit in his name.
Like here.
I'm not surprised they take such big cuts.
Like right there. Yeah,
That
I
sounds
feel like Olympia is here. Just instinctive.
Doesn't matter where she's at, to be honest with you, on the map. Just that you know how you can find her. There's another way. Does anybody have animalism?
Hatshepsut has it.
Yeah.
Fortunately, she's not here.
All right. So, rather than make you discuss your way through it, which I could, somebody give me a manipulation and etiquette roll.
I probably should do that.
Go ahead.
It's diff 6, but you need 3 successes.
Is
Oh,
anyone
man.
helping? Can anyone help?
I do
Can it
have
be?
one
Can it
dot
be
of etiquette.
assisted?
Yeah, that's a good question.
You can add 2 dice for people helping, yeah.
Difficulty?
6. There you go. You spend 20 or 30 minutes in conversation with the man and his family, discussing the tax business and such, and you manage to wrangle some information out of him that there's a couple of protected houses that maybe get very lenient treatment. And you manage to figure out, let's start there. That's probably her.
Okay, sounds good enough. I will politely thank the man, and let's go to that location then.
Right. So it's in the north part of the city. It's a large house in the Greek style, not the Roman style. The moon is out. From where you are at, a large river flows from the foothills to the harbor of Nafpaktos, and it's one of the reasons it's so wealthy. This is a wealthy city, by the way. It's very much a shipbuilding city, and they do build a lot of ships here.
Excuse me.
From the Greek house, as you approach it, you realize you can just barely see the river as a thin silver stream coming from the northern foothills. There's several fenced-in areas. You goats and chickens. You can hear them sleeping, squawking a little bit. You see a couple of them. There's a couple horses stabled in a barn. Appears to be quite prosperous.
Okay. Do we see any guards front of one of these large buildings?
Yeah, there's a couple of men. Just they are kind of sitting, just looking out over the area, making sure no wolves or nothing make their way in.
I assume the right approach would be just going to one of those guards and like asking, we would like to meet with the head, master, Dominos or something like that, just inslining female gender, just so we can see if we are truly talking with the right people.
Yeah, they look pissed off that you just spoke Latin to them.
Well, I mean, equivalent in Greek, not because I don't know what Greeks say for the female boss or leader or whatever it's called. I really don't know.
Well, you probably have etiquette, so maybe we said the equivalent, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Like the lady of the house, or I don't know, like the mistress of the house, or something like that, whatever that might be. Because honestly, I'm not as good as my character when it comes to etiquette, so.
Yeah, the Archon. Archon is a nice gender-neutral term, and it's basically the ruler. They to kind of look at you and they're like, they said, well, you go straight up the main path, the front door, and you can knock.
Okay, I shrug and then enter. I go to that place and knock the door.
It opens to reveal a man standing there. Looks at you, and he speaks to you in Greek. Can I help you?
Does this person look important?
No.
I will look back to Nicodemus, then just take a step back and let him speak.
We wish to see the mistress of the house.
The mistress of the house is busy. Who is calling on?
I am Nicodemus of Thebes, and this is the choose of. And I'm gonna recite his full name.
Right.
And well, I relay all of our identities.
Okay. If you will wait a few moments, and the door shuts, leaving you out in the cold for about 15 minutes. And then he comes back and opens it.
It's good.
Says, Archon Olympia has deigned to see you. Please come in.
Okay, let's go in. Oh, someone dropped.
You're invited to a sitting area. Now, the Greek building is actually arranged in a courtyard sort of pattern. It's a square with an inner courtyard. So you're invited in. There's a little pool right there where you can sit and rest. He says, any wine or bread, cheese, refreshments while you wait?
What will be the right answer to that question?
I was kind of wondering, would it be worth, accepting the offer, whether we actually partake from it or not once we get it?
If they know who it is, then we can probably say no.
Could it be like in movies where you order food or drink and you never touch it? It's just wasted.
Yeah, it's pretty much wasted.
But is that okay?
I don't know. You tell me.
I'm going to say
we should accept it because it's accepting hospitality.
yeah. It's like they're offering their food to us. Sure,
Right.
I accept the offer.
He disappears. He comes back a little while later with another servant. They offer a platter of bread and cheese with little slices of goat, and they pour all of you a glass of wine.
Just gonna pretend nibbling.
Yeah, pretty much same.
All right. Another half hour or so goes past, and then he appears before you again. He says, "The mistress is ready to see you. If you would all follow me."
Okay.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Abner, her foot untouched, gets up to follow him.
Right. He walks you through the house. The interior is magnificent. There are scenes of the area's past painted onto the walls. You see pottery with stories of the gods on it. There is a shrine to both Zeus and Poseidon in the house. He opens a door and takes you downstairs. There is a very large cellar that he leads you down into. He has a lamp with an open flame that he's carrying very carefully. Leads you down into the darkness. He said, "Mind your step. These stairs can be very slippery." And you see him being very careful, keep a hand on the wall as he goes down. Goes down.
Labian will do the same.
Why would they lead us over a slippery steps? That's interesting.
Something. I imagine that there is nothing flammable around.
No, no, there is not.
Yeah, so Olympia is growing perhaps a bit paranoid after the last incident.
Well, also, what are the steps made of?
Stone.
Stone. That's
Yeah.
probably why they're slippery.
We probably can assume that any rich person building will be made of stone.
He makes a left turn and takes a few steps and says, "In here, please." Hangs the lamp on a hook, and there is another lamp inside the room, and you hear voices.
But see nothing.
Any
No, I
familiar
didn't say that.
voices?
You haven't walked into the room yet.
As she hears the voice, is almost going to turn to the man and confess, "Your mistress has other guests at the moment?"
She entertains company frequently.
Well, shall we enter? We shall. And I open and enter.
Yep, going in.
Right.
Just go.
So if you all go in, you see the cellar room is appointed quite well. There are rugs on the floor. There are chairs and stools, artwork, bust of Olympia and a bust of the gods, clearly equating her with god status down here. Olympia herself is sitting in the chair, and she's talking to another girl who appears to be youth, maybe a teenager. And she stands up and she says, "Welcome, my guests. It's been so long since I've seen you. Albina, Nicodemus, and Labiena." She comes up and she cordially greets you all, familiarly greets you all.
Albina greets her back, handing over the cloak in the process.
Labiana does likewise, even managing to put on a slight smile of familiarity. Good to see you again.
What's the proper title to address her with?
Archon.
Archon. It is an extreme pleasure for me to see you in good health, Archon Olympia. Please accept this token of my appreciation and an expression of enjoyment at our meeting. And he hands over his gift, which we haven't established what it is, but it's probably a shawl to match her features and some of the jewelry he saw her previously wear, or rather the tendency. Not as extravagant as Albina's, for sure, but probably carrying some as well.
She expresses genuine delight at the gifts. She tries the cloak on and she says, "You even remembered my size. How wonderful! I'm so happy."
It's not possible to forget anything about you.
She tries on the jewelry, has somebody hold up a polished bronze mirror for her to look into and admire it. Tries everything on, hands it to the girl and says, "Make sure these stay clean. Go and put them away for me." And then she looks at Decius and she says,
Yeah,
I believe you're new."
I will. First of all, I will address her as Archon. Sorry, I cannot pronounce it correct, but Archon Odysseus Olympia. Sorry, Archon Olympia. My name is. Well, I will greet her with the Venture greeting, which I probably definitely know, and I will say, "My name is Decius Varius Tertullianus. I am glad to meet you."
The appropriate venture etiquette would be to recite your lineage at this point.
Okay, then I will. Let's see. I wrote that so I can check it. I will say, well, do I start with myself or do I start with the oldest member?
You start with yourself, and it's Decius Varius Tetulianus, Childa of,
Okay,
and then
yeah,
Childa
chi-
of blah blah.
okay.
what I was thinking.
Childer of Valerianus, Childer of Tinia, and Childer of Ventru.
Pleasure to meet you. I am Archon Olympia, and she gives her lineage, which I don't have written down. But
It's okay.
she is 5th gen.
Okay, I will. It will be appropriate to give a gift, right?
It is.
Yeah, I would give a nice, fine detailed, not exaggerated, but definitely fine quality jewelry to her.
She sets the box down and looks at it and expresses that it's a wonderful gift. It's quite nice. When I have more time, I will try it on again in front of the mirror. You notice she tried on everybody else's right away, not yours. Just something to take note of.
Yeah, it's just they have a history. I don't.
She says, "So,
I assume.
thank you all for your pleasant gifts. I appreciate it, but I appreciate your company more. What brings you back to my area? Is something happening in Rome? What's going on?"
We have recently taken a patronage under Alexander, a member of your clan. He has taken us to Athens with him, and have stopped on your city along the way. We saw it as a perfect opportunity to get in touch after all these years separated.
How thoughtful! I'm appreciate that you thought of me. Uh, since you were only here for such a short amount of time, is there something that we can do besides conversation? Because I won't turn that down.
Decius will start speaking. Archon Olympia. I wanted to come here as a gesture of acknowledging your authority and asking for permission to hunt in your city.
Well, now that
And
depends
my
on
friend,
what you're hunting.
out of character, isn't that a question she shouldn't ask?
It's slightly improper, but she's going to make sure that her herds are safe.
Okay. I can say as much as I will be looking for a good quality people, and I will promise that my intentions are not to abuse this kind of thing. I will be very careful on not hurting anyone, even slightly.
Maybe I'll ask you in more detail later. I just want to make very, very sure that your interests are not going to damage mine.
Of course, I'm sure I can find a way to explain it to you without doing anything wrong.
I would like to have a personal request to Archon Olympia. Once we are perhaps sated with the conversation, we would gladly pass on some news from Rome if you're interested.
Of
But
course.
I require an inquiry.
Well, Rome has become so dominant. what affects Rome affects us all now. I'm sure with you being so close to the seat of power, that that you have heard quite a number of news and probably have some good suppositions to share.
What she says about how what Rome happens in Rome affects us all, does it has, is it just a comment on her part, or is there some sort of bitterness behind it, or something like that? Something that shows disapproval at this.
It's an observation of fact.
Okay. Which has happened, both among the mortals and among the Eternal Senate. I assume that you have heard that a new position has been created by the prince. The position of Scourge.
No, I have not heard that. While news may travel fast, unfortunately, sometimes it does not travel here.
It's a recent development made on a delicate moment of the prince, a delicate moment of the city.
And why did he resurrect this office of Scourge?
The growth of the city has attracted not just mortals, but also other canines, some of which are proving to be troublesome and need to be dealt with.
So he's limited it. So he has limited it to Rome itself.
So far, yes.
And to whom did he name the position?
My sire, Mistress Aemilia Maela.
That's very interesting. Well, what else has been going on?
There's, like Albina said, there was an influx of new kindred, old and young alike. That's the usual power struggles that occur there. Perhaps things have become more vicious over recent times, simply because there's of the sheer volume of newcomers, and among the mortal populace, there's
Indeed.
These new fledglings do not know their places.
Fledglings rarely do.
But they are more bold, the respectful to us, the better. Why? Just the other day, a couple of them, what I believe to have been a bruiser and a gangrel, tried to take over the domain of Trifosa. Can you imagine that? Fledglings taking into the domain of Trifosa, the seer of Rome.
Yes.
That would never have happened 100 years ago.
You are quite correct. Some people just don't know when to stop. I assume
Stopped.
they were turned over to the Scourge?
Yes,
Good.
they met the final deaths for daring to attempt to take the property of one of our most honorable members of our city.
For their impudence or whatever the word is.
Your impudence. Yes.
Just
Wow,
that-
such a wonderful word. I love that word.
It is a great word.
Well, Nicodemus, you were going to ask me for something. Before we get too much into discussing gossip, what were you going to ask?
Yes. My mind travels back to the circumstances in which we first met and the circumstances that followed and the first agreement we've made. I was wondering if the two kindred that were spared by your mercy, that were in service of the one that has been befallen by your hand. What fate has befallen them?
Oh, well, how interesting you should ask. I was just thinking about them. Would you like to see them?
Yes.
Well, they're quite close by. Why don't I take you to them? And then after I can leave you there, and I will discuss matters of the Vitae with Decius here.
Well, I was just going to say, speaking of, I would say out of character, I'm presuming we already have, or one of us is at some point going to say in general that would we of course have permission to satiate ourselves if need be while we're here?
It occurs to me that I owe both you and Albina minor boons yet. I would offer you something in return for the completion of the minor boon. How would you like to feed upon their blood of my captives? Not to final death, just on them.
I would be honoured. Slubina's gonna have to restrain herself, but pretty sure she can do that just this once.
The only time I ever fed on the blood of another kindred was back when I first took my patronship on the Artemis and for my own mistress. I'd be honored
Well,
to be given this opportunity.
let us be forth then. She leads you deeper into the cellar. It's
All
not
three of
terribly
us?
deep. It's not like a deep cave or nothing like that. There's a couple of lanterns here and there with large stretches of darkness in between, just enough to see, just barely enough. A couple little twists and turns, and you end up in front of two cells that they are caged in. The locking mechanism is not terribly complicated. It's just out of their reach, so they can't reach out and grab it. There's no keys or nothing like that. It's just like a wedge. And you see two filthy bodies there, and some bucket of water. It's windowless, of course. Does not look to the outside. They are in two separate cells. One of them is obviously a Nosferatu. One of them looks to be a normal person. But their fangs are out. They're kind of skinny. They have an iron collar around their neck, which is completely fused. So they can never get it off. And she kicks the wedges out, opens the gates, and says, come forth, my darlings." And the two of them run out and they kneel down in front of her, which, being that some of you are Greek, know this is never done. You don't do that as Greeks. But they kneel down in front of her. And she says, "O Rama," and the normal-looking one of the Toreador, and Dynami of the Nosferatu. You love me, you do anything to serve me." And they start going, "Yes, mistress, of course, mistress, we love you, we do anything. Oh, Yes, please allow us to serve you. And they start like trying to kiss her feet. And she says, that's very, very good. And she says, these two young ladies here are going to, each of them are going to feed off of you. And they're like, yes, yes, please, we'll love it. Yes, please, you can feed off of us. We'll do anything Mother wants. And then you are going to talk to this man over here. And again, the two of them almost in sync. Yes, Mother, of course, Mother. We'll do anything you tell us to do, Mother. Yes, of course. We love to serve you. We do anything. And she looks around. She says, if they make any trouble for you, just give me a holler. And she looks at him. She says, now stay there, darlings. And then she says, well, have fun. And she turns around and walks away, leaving you to it. It's immediately apparent these two kindred are broken.
Thank you, Archon.
They are broken.
What's the Nosferatu's name again? Sorry.
Dynami.
Man.
So we're talking severe Stockholm syndrome.
Albina has a thoughtful look on her face as she looks at them. And she wonders if perhaps the same can be done to the fledglings that step out of line back in Rome, to break them to serve Maela. The thought forming on her mind as she approaches. One of them looks over to Labiana. Which one would you like?
Well, Labiena's thoughtful, at least in this regard. Looks at them both, turns to Albina and says, I would not be... I would completely understand if you were to want the Toreador in lieu of the Nosferatu.
I do not care for how they look. The blood's the same.
Understand. I will take the Nosferatu all the same.
As you desire.
Of course. Enjoy. I know I will.
The sweet, potent blood of 5th generation Vitae flows into your mouth. The Nosferatu blood is still amazingly tasty. It is kind of wretched tasting, but it's still vampiric Vitae, and it's great. The greatest wine, the best drink you've ever had.
I doubt Labiena's gonna care about the whole Nosferatu tint in it.
The Nosferatu himself, a look of pleasure crosses his face as your vampiric kiss holds on him, and as you take minor sips, a little at a time, just a little at a time, enjoying yourself. And the same with the Toreador. Albina's cold doesn't seem to bother him. The fact that he's being fed on doesn't bother him. Just the feel and sound of the teeth and the vampire's, that curse of pleasure as his life force is drained from him. Nicodemus, you're looking onward at this, and what are you thinking as you look at this spectacle?
While they feed, while their backs are turned to him, and while the two captives are seized in the ecstasy of the kiss, Nicodemus stands frozen, and he has just enough strength to rotate his head to ensure that Olympia has left the premise. And it's at this moment that his self-restraint and ability to keep a straight face fails, and he stumbles to the knees, pushed down by the gravity of realization that it was his action, his decision, his thought of granting mercy to this, their will to preserve their lives, but this has in fact turned their fates to worse than death. He immediately imagines that through all these times, how much was it? Was it a century? Was it just dozens upon dozens of years? but a lifetime for a human, and perhaps a greater chunk of his own. That they were subjected to any little tricks that Olympia could use at her disposal, from sweet words, the crushing power of her own dominate, the promises of liberation or promises of pain and pleasure, whatever you name it, the twisted and bizarre things that you can that an human venture that is vying with revenge and contempt could pour at them. He could said nothing. He could preserve his pathetic major boon to the powerful kindred and just let them die. It would be better off for them, and they would not need to suffer this. And the worst thing is that he was played as a fool. No, that's a small price to pay for this inhuman act that he committed. He was played by someone who played by the rules. She had not broken her word. The deal was to spare the lives, but what else? He had hoped he would let them endure in a way, preserve some dignity, set them loose perhaps, subject to some sort of servitude, maybe leave them go. Oh, how naive he was. Save their hunger. He keeps on his knees, barely holding himself together, weeping internally at the sad state of their own lives. That's about it.
So the two of you finish feeding.
Well, actually, before she finishes, I'm just wondering, is Labiana still suffering that whole addiction to diablerie thing? Because I'm wondering if she may need to make a roll.
I'm glad you remember that because I forgot. Yes, she is. This is your chance to break it, though. So, if you succeed in a willpower roll of permanent willpower, which I believe is the same as your temporary at the moment.
At the moment, yeah.
You need 3 successes at difficulty 6 to break the compulsion. You only need success to resist it.
I rolled a 10, but it's the same as the permanent anyway.
You thrust the hand away from you that you're feeding on, or the neck. And even though your beast is clamoring at you, more, it wants more. And you're like, no, I am the master. I will not listen to you. And you thrust it away, and you feel a little relief as you lick the blood off. You don't feel that compulsion to go back and feed more. You don't feel compelled to sink your teeth in again. You don't have to fight that urge.
Say she has too much respect for Olympia to let that happen in her domain.
All right.
Do you see the breakdown that Nicodemus is having after we are done feeding?
You see the aftermath of him crouched down, his back to the wall, holding his face as he stares in horror at the scene in front of him, as he's thinking these thoughts of, look what I allowed to happen.
Abner is going to approach him, a confused look on her face. The idea that he's concerned for these two people that, in her mind, they are nobodies, not even forming in her mind. You look to be in distress.
Oh, thank you for your concern. It's only temporary. Don't mind me, I'll be fine. Have you finished?
Yes.
Doesn't say Labiana turns around and is kind of torn at this point between, showing sympathy for Nicodemus's feeling and her continuing deviation away from her humanity to have a sort of a, what's the word? I suppose you could say a neutral state, but she's starting to struggle with that now.
Yeah, now that you see a man who's actually afflicted with a crisis of conscience, it's a little bit humbling, maybe. So the two of them, as you walk away, actually begin to crawl after you. Please, is there anything else that you need? Mother said to be good to you and take care of you. What else can we do for you? We want to make Mother happy.
What happened to the two of you? How did you come to love Mother?
Oh no, she taught us the error of our ways. We saw we were wrong. And the other one picks up. Oh yes. She made sure we knew how badly we behaved, and the fact that the one that we had served was so wrong and so bad, and she was so nice to allow us to live.
Interesting. I wonder if that could be achievable with the neonates in Rome, with the fledglings in Rome. She looked over to Nicodemus. Perhaps the taste of blood might help you? Would you like...
No, not from them. I don't feel hungry. But
Labiana nods in understanding. I suppose Labiana will take the initiative at this stage and says, no one else wishes to partake. I would presume that, and she turns to the other two, the two neonates. I would presume you would make Mother very happy if you were to get back into your cages.
Oh yes, it certainly would. If you're done with us, if you don't need anything else.
No, we are no longer required for the moment.
just a moment. I will have short words.
Of course. Would you like us to give you privacy?
Yes, please.
Of course.
Albina nods and opens the door, holding it open for Labiana.
No, of course, we will leave you for a moment. And she'll follow Albina.
As soon as they leave, Nicodemus crawls forward to be closer to them. He doesn't feel threatened by them, even though they are infinitely more powerful than he is. It's only the conditioning that Olympia has pumped into their heads through the decades of subservience that was granting him any sort of safety. And he forces himself. He wants to flee, but then he wants to do something, but he doesn't know why. He approaches closer and just takes a moment to look each of them in the eyes, to just see the fruits of his own failure in front of him, probably gazing into some expression of a creature that is stripped of its own will.
I would like you to make a perception plus empathy roll. Auspex does not help here, but it is difficulty 6.
I don't think Nicodemus is in the condition to spend the willpower on this, even though I guess he would really want to.
I think you can.
Oh yeah, actually, he's forcing himself to do this. Okay. Perception plus. That's 2 successes.
Only 2. I will allow you to re-roll at difficulty 7, and you will not have to spend another willpower. I will have that point carry over.
Okay. They're the same.
There's something deep in those eyes as you gaze into them. You can't quite put your finger on it. You know you're looking at a creature that is feeling something besides what they're saying. And you're so close to it, you almost, it's on the tip of your tongue. You can't quite bridge the gap between the man that you are and the creature sitting in front of you to make that emotional connection.
Nicodemus, his hands are trembling. He doesn't know what to make of this, but perhaps there is one hope. He never knew them, and he never knew Alamar well enough to gauge their relations to them. But it is said that in the times of need, only the truest friends or the greatest of lovers are standing in the face of inevitable doom. He reaches to his pouch and procures a Alamar signet. He lifts it casually for them to see, without expressively forcing them to look at it, but just like pulls it out into their visions, hoping that maybe something will happen.
Their eyes lock onto it, and you see something in them changes. And they try to say something, and one of them like makes this like she's gonna talk, and then grabs their throat and starts choking.
His own throat.
Yeah, and the other one grabs onto it and like closes their eyes, and then Nosferatu says, it chokes out, "That's not Olympia!" and then does the same thing. Starts like choking themselves to where they can't talk anymore.
Seems like he's able to kill himself with that.
No, they cannot kill themselves like that. They're literally cutting their throat off so they can't say anything. Just pressing on the windpipe, punishing themselves, banging their head on the floor at their disobedience of the deep-seated dominate and blood bond mind games. They just choked out something to you that they were not supposed to say.
That's not Olympia, he said, right?
That's exactly what he said.
Nicodemus's curiosity peaks, and he struggles. He wants to push further, but he knows the power of Elder Dominate. He knows that he's been subjected through years by Artemis to it, and he knows, and by reflection, he likely somehow understands that this has been applied, and this is just a more potent version, and there's very little that he can do in fighting against it. He puts the signet away. This has granted some edge, but this is so little, too little. He heads in head in shame and struggles to find the words, but the only thing that comes across from him is, "I'm sorry." And he remains motionless for a while, just letting his emotions run rampant through him, but not expressing them. He just endures it in silence, waiting for the surge of the surge of guilt and self-pity ends, and that so that he's able to function again.
Yeah, so you spend some time down there processing this information. Maybe reminding yourself of the encounter you had of, the last, when you met her and you attacked Alamar, she was burnt to a crisp. And you, as you recall, you never could make a understanding why the attack happened in the first place. It never made sense.
That she so rapidly destroyed him?
Well, what caused the attack in the first place? Why was she so certain it was Alamar? What?
Yeah.
How did he not have forces prepared? How did she already have forces prepared to go after him?
Yes, it was suggested that we were being manipulated, and she just used the excuse to make it happen.
Yeah, and then there's the, at Carthage, maybe the Ventru sensed something wrong. Maybe it wasn't them shutting her. Maybe she was staying away from them.
Whatever it is, yep. Nicodemus doesn't even try to unfold it now because he's too shaken and too downbeaten to continue on, to connect within reason. In times like this, he wished that he had the strength and self-control of Vivlia. Perhaps his teachings would be invaluable to endure.
So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was basically done. I wanted to get out.
All right. So as they're going through their feeding and their emotional reaction to this, Decius, you're behind, talking with Olympia, and she says, "So, you wish to feed in my city, and you understand." This does not have the population of Rome, and this customs are different from what you may be accustomed to.
I understand.
So, explain to me what you are looking for, and I may offer suggestions, and I may decline your request.
Okay. Well, I can give several social custodies, and we can see how it goes. I would be content with hunting among the middle class, high class, people that do not live in the city but in a village nearby. I would be content with priests, priest-like entities. That's pretty much what's in my head so far. Is any of those would be okay?
Well, see, the problem is the population here does not stay out all night. Feeding is not merely a matter of finding a person on the street and taking them to a private corner. You have to ingratiate yourself to the household. You have to insert yourself into the building, or have them come to you. So do you see, by limiting yourself to such a class of people that may have protection and thick walls, you're going to have to talk yourself into their house, and it is getting quite late, and you may not even They may not even hear you knocking on the door. So, I could potentially offer you something, but I am afraid that you may let yourself. It may not be enough to satisfy. We'll put it like that.
Decius will stay silent and wait for Prince to continue.
I have a couple of servants here that were drawn from well-mannered households. They may be to your particular taste. If so long as you treat them very well and do not take too much, I will allow you to feed from them and attempt it.
And I do assume you do expect something from me in return.
What I'm receiving from you in return, I have already attained. To trust even another venturer with knowledge of your particular tastes, is a great gift.
Decius will not make a comment on that. I see. Then I would gladly accept that offering. And out of character, the thing was Archon, right?
Yes,
Savio.
yes, Archon.
I will gladly accept that Archon. Archon Olympia.
She goes still for a moment, and then the man who opened the door a few seconds later comes down the steps. Says, you called for me, mistress. And she says, well, fetch this person and this person, and take him and take them to the room and allow him to taste them. You are brought forth a young lady in her early mid-teens and a young man in his late teens.
I will just gently take a very little amount of blood, just very, very little, just to see if it fits my taste. Okay.
It does. So you can take 4 safely, 1 or 2 from each.
Okay, I can do that.
All right. Right about the time you finish up, everybody, you rejoin back in the cellar with Olympia and Albina and the Labiena and Nicodemus.
Nicodemus, having spent enough time, is ready. He has allowed his emotions to stabilize. He has assumed the same face as the same expression as he wore when he first came in. A pleasant neutrality would be probably best. And he is actually guarding his thoughts well. This whole event about them saying this is not Olympia, and the whole thing about the signet, is buried deep within feelings of regret and remorse and self-pity. One that likely Olympia expects him to have. But he's not showing this externally.
This has
Thank you.
been quite a pleasant visit. Is there anything else that you would like to speak about before we just get on to standard gossip?
There
Oh no,
are, you go
Yes,
ahead.
Albina. Go.
There are a few questions that I'd like to ask.
By all means.
And first of all, allow me to say that what you did is quite impressive with those two. They are much more obedient to your will than they are when we last departed. Do you think that would be achievable with these troublesome fledglings of Rome that I had me mentioned to you?
Are you familiar with the properties of blood and drinking it overnights?
Yes, the Bloodbound. Very intimately familiar with it.
The blood bond is a blunt tool, but it is quite a secure one. That was only the first step. Significant amount of dominate and punishment over several years finished up what you see there before you. To be honest, it kept me occupied quite pleasantly.
It took uh, around how long to get them in this state?
A few years.
And if I may, what willing to divulge what form of punishment were utilized?
Oh, let me see. She closes her eyes and she steeples her fingers. She leans back. I believe some hot irons were involved. Oh, the collars. They were put onto them with hot iron, and then the hot rivet pounded through, so that when it sealed into place, it permanently sealed. It could never be undone without heating the collar to red hot heat, which would destroy them. That was a good touch. I had a good time that night.
Nicodemus longs along as this gruesome explanation is delivered, suddenly glad that he spent all these nights helping Favzia with her morbid experiments. It had granted him some degree of resistance.
Alpina is nodding along, very obviously taking mental notes of this. Suggesting that she can give to her own sire once they return.
Dinner as well, for different reasons.
I did not
Taking
have
notes
the
there.
facilities to use sunlight to torture them, although I did stake them for months at a time. They have been subsisting upon rat, snake, and fish blood since they were in prison. They have not had a single drop of humans. I don't think they'd be able to control themselves by now if even a single drop of human blood were placed in front of them. Let's see. Made them watch as I burned their individual possessions one at a time. That was many pleasant months there. Just the wailing and gnashing of teeth, the curses as I threw the beloved tunics and their paintings and their golden dishes into the fire, as I donated their beloved treasures to the temples here. Oh, I shiver in memory of how pleasant that was. More beatings than I can quite simply remember. I allowed what they perceived to be their inferiors to parade them around like dogs through the town. That was a good one. Oh, I honestly, I don't think I can remember all of them as we sit here and talk. The more we talk, the more I remember.
These are all very interesting things that I would remember to use to just to my sire in her tasks of keeping the peace in Rome. The other thing is, what about Christina and Miss Alonge? Have you been kept in contact with her?
No, I'm afraid not. I haven't seen them. Oh, how many years has it been? I think it was nearly Carthage. It's the last time I saw them. When Carthage was destroyed, shortly before that.
She is an eyebrow. They are a Carthage.
No, before that.
Oh,
Why? Do you have news of them? Because it's been a very long time, and I thought Evelina would have tried to take over Miss Alongi, and she kind of dropped away from the public eye.
no. It's I like to be considered like to consider myself one of her friends, but I have not been able to keep in contact with her. I was hoping you'd have been able to share any news about her well-being.
No, it's a shame. I uh, sent several messages to her and her husband, and they were never returned. And several years ago, one of my men went to Miss Alongi, and her building had been torn down and repurposed. So I don't know where she's at. If you do find out, let me know.
Of course. As soon as I find out, I'll send the information to you.
Wonderful.
Have you taken any chowder these years?
No, none have met my demanding specifications as of yet. Oh, how about you? How about all of you? Uh, Nicodemus, did you have a chowder yet?
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
you had
most-
one at Carthage, right?
Excuse me.
Said you had a chowder. You sired one at Carthage, did you not? Or you brought one with you?
Shortly after the main battle, you have an excellent memory. Yes, indeed, it was one of my students at the Collegium. Yes, I fear his skill at medicine has by now far surpassed mine.
Well, the pleasant benefits of having a specialist on board.
It is true, yes. Also, children have means to surprise their parents more often than not. He has developed some flares much different from my own. What would we do without them?
Oh, just be careful that when he surpasses you, that he doesn't replace you.
That's a words of wisdom. Thank you. One should all be watchful of their backs.
How about you, Labiana? Did you ever? You did take a childer at Carthage, I believe. I think I heard a rumor that you had embraced one of your men. You and Albina.
Well, Labiana, of course, has a slight sullen look briefly past her face before to normal again. And looking back at Olympia. Indeed, Archon, you heard correctly. In fact, it was my ghoul who ended up becoming my childer for a short time. Unfortunately, he sacrificed himself rather gallantly. I'm
As a childer is supposed to do.
indeed, but I have not since sighed another.
And you, Albina, you took a childer at Carthage, did you not?
Yes, my previous ghoul and bodyguard, but much like Labiana, he also met his end at the clans of werewolves.
Oh, werewolves, those terrible monsters they are.
In just a few seconds, they destroyed what I worked decades to build. Disgusting creatures.
Labiana nods in fervent agreement at that.
As does Olympia. Disgusting creatures. That's why we never venture to the woods north of the city. Let the woodcutters and the shipwrights, let them go do their surveys. We're safe right here. How about you, Decius? Have any children for you?
No one of worthy. So, no.
No. Well. Oh well. Well, I'm willing to talk all night with you until you must depart. If there's any other major things, now's the time.
Nothing on my part. I wish you a good night, and I hope I didn't disappointed you for tonight, considering the circumstances we've been in.
Oh,
And I leave.
Once again, we thank you very much for your hospitality.
and thank you for visiting.
And thank you for meeting our inquiries. That was most gracious of you.
She stands up and she greets all of you as you leave. She helps even escort you all to the door, very graciously.
By the way, we've been given permission to feed?
Yes, as long as you were very careful.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
As she did explain to Decius, the problem is that most people don't get on the streets this late at night, so it's going to be pretty scarce. You might have to break in and cause issues.
Yeah.
On his way out, Nicodemus would try to find some homeless people, perhaps by the pier. Maybe that would be some.
There are a few drunk, like blackout drunk, people sleeping near the piers.
Man.
So you can feed from some sleeping victims.
Okay. The drunk effect carries on, right?
It'll fade by tomorrow.
Yeah, it's like a scene. You don't have to worry.
Okay, Nicodemus would feed from them.
Right.
The miserable state he's in.
It's
That would be.
There's 3 or 4 of them sitting out there, sleeping next to some half-built ships and sleeping next on the piers. You climb out. You look around very carefully. Nobody's keeping watch. And you dip your fangs in, and the rich taste of heavily alcohol-laden blood fills your mouth as you begin to drink it and swallow. And you feel that alcohol rush hit, and you begin to suffer from the penalties of being drunk.
Nicodemus stated wobbles to the ship to sleep out. Perhaps seeing some justice in it.
I think it's not -1 dexterity 10 perception.
Well, I hope we're not fighting. How much points do I regain?
There were 4 people, so you can have 8 without any real harm to them.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah, that too.
Oh, I hope it's not my New Year's. That was a bit too many shots.
Ditto.
Let's go to the ship and try to keep your balance, Nicodemus.
Yeah, good advice, mate.
So yeah, we should probably
All right,
give him a.
It's good that I cannot puke.
you are back to the ship, everybody. Unless you have something that you need to do here before the ship takes off, we're going to cut the session off for the night.
Before I forget, but once we leave, Nicodemus wanted to ask Alexander what he knows or what he thinks of Olympia. Would his lordship be found in a mood fitting such proclivities?
It's well known that Olympia committed the sin of
Yeah, but
diablerizing, or as the Toreador like to call it, committing the amaranth upon another ruler. To
Yes.
take of the blood of your elders is an almost unforgivable offense. But she did take it from a Bruja, so a child of Troil. So it's not quite that unforgivable. But she must be punished nonetheless.
I'm being a bit lost. That's out of character. So, he wasn't her elder, right? Because basically parallel rivaling cities.
Essentially
so-
parallel. But Almar was actually older.
Oh, okay. So the Ventrue, like
yeah.
drinking from the elder. How did they commit the elder? In secret, I know.
Well, I mean, it's pretty well known that she made it a public spectacle when she diablerized Almar.
I'm
And
pretty sure only you guys know about Labiena's sin.
Nicodemus wasn't there to witness it, but he probably figured it out. This was the reason then for socially excluding her back at Carthage. I noticed she wasn't hanging out with other.
Well, that was partly her decision. She
Really?
elected to stay away lest she suffer from the barbed arrows of wit.
Doesn't strike me as someone who would be bothered by minor tongue fencing.
Well, when you consider that she was in the same tent as the father of the fatherland, the prince of Corinth, the prince of all Sparta, goddess of the goddess of Artemis, the legend of the sun, Mithras. Yes, I would think that one who had committed her sin would be quite eager to avoid drawing their eyes.
This is fair.
Was it a joke when you said he did it publicly?
He pretty much made it a very big spectacle.
Okay.
There.
I'm just gonna ask to.
It's also cowardly, but
okay.
yes.
Patron Alexander, is this how things are done in the city? Publicly consuming another kindred and making it the spectacle?
Consuming
the
the blood of your elder is never to be done.
Of course, that's the teachings I've been taught and I followed them. But is the tradition different in the city? Why did she do something like that? And of course I shouldn't question the decision of my elders, but it seems so different, so out of shape thing to do.
It's a fair question. And that's all he says about it. He says it's a fair question.
Nicodemus has no more to say. He has to think matters over and cure this hangover. Bitch.
Good night, patron Alexander.
And a good night to you.
Good morrow.
Alright, everybody gets 2 experience points for tonight.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you.
Let me stop the recording here. Alright guys, there you have it. We were missing Hatchetsit for the night. We have possibly discovered another secret of the world of darkness, vampire society. We'll have to see what the players make of it. Hope you guys enjoyed the session, and I want to thank you once again for listening to us, and have a great evening.